Chapter 23-34. They didn't know, but they didn't dare to stay any longer. They looked around in surprise, fearing that the mysterious expert was still hiding in the surroundings. In fact, a few of them even ran away. Although they were also peerless powerhouses, they were still inferior to the Great Demon and the Second Demon. However, even a terrifying demon king like the Great Demon was killed. If that person attacked them, they had no chance of survival. Although they had escaped, the news had spread out. For a moment, the entire Jiuli dynasty was shocked. Because the 4 demons of Jiuli were notorious in the Jiuli dynasty, and no one dared to provoke them. However, these 4 terrifying people were actually slaughtered. This was truly a shocking piece of news. For a moment, everyone was talking about who did it. Qianshan Domain, Qianshan City. When the cultivators in the city heard the news, they were also in an uproar. The 4 demons of Jiuli, such powerful demon kings, were killed. Who did it? The 4 demons were from the Teng family. The young master of the Teng family had a conflict with the mysterious young man. Do you think it was that kid who did it? What? Are you talking about that heaven-defying kid? Many people exclaimed. They thought of Lin Xian. However, some seniors shook their heads. Impossible. Although that kid is powerful, it's impossible for him to kill the 4 demons. He doesn't have that ability. Those terrifying demon kings have existed for thousands of years, and their strength is very terrifying. Unless they're invincible experts, no one can kill them. Perhaps it wasn't that kid who did it. However, it was the expert behind that kid who did it. That guy is so strong, it's impossible for him to be unknown. It's possible. Everyone was discussing. The city lord's mansion was silent when they heard the news. Because young Master Qianshan was killed, they were furious and wanted to gather experts to catch the murderer. But now when they heard the news, they hesitated. Because according to their guess, the 4 demons of Jiuli were probably sent by Teng Kuan and the others to kill that kid. But now they were killed. Needless to say, there must be a terrifying expert behind that kid. That kind of person could even kill the 4 demons, let alone them. Therefore, these powerhouses of the city lord's mansion had faces full of terror. They did not dare to search for the culprit at all. On the other hand, the Teng family was unusually furious. To be honest, the Teng family was bewildered when they first received the news. What the hell? The 4 devils of Jiuli were destroyed? What a joke. Those were the 4 devils of Jiuli. More importantly, when had they ever sent out the 4 demons of Jiuli? Therefore, at first, they thought it was a rumor that someone was trying to suppress the Teng family. However, they found out later that the entire dynasty was talking about it. This made them feel that something was wrong. The members of the Teng family tried to contact the 4 devils of Jiuli, but there was no response from them. It was as if the other party had disappeared. One had to know that even if they couldn't contact him, the entire country was talking about it. Given the personalities of the 4 demons of Jiuli, they would definitely jump out at the first opportunity to shatter this rumor. However, after such a long time had passed, the 4 Jiuli demons still hadn't come out. This gave them a bad feeling. What's going on? The Teng family's patriarch could not sit still anymore, so he began to ask. Soon they found out that the 4 devils of Jiuli had been transferred away. Not only that, but many powerhouses and elders of the Teng family had also been transferred away. What? Teng Kuan and the others were transferred away? Damn it, what did these guys do? When the patriarch and elders of the Teng family heard the news, their faces immediately darkened. The 4 devils of Jiuli had been transferred away. Could the rumor be true? They hurriedly ran to Qianshan City to ask and collect all kinds of evidence. In the end, they concluded that the 4 devils of Jiuli might have really been destroyed. Not only the 4 devils of Jiuli, Teng Kuan and the other 2, as well as the elite powerhouses and elders of the Teng family, were all killed. None of them returned. This news caused a huge earthquake in the Teng family. What kind of joke was this? The Teng family had never suffered such a blow for thousands of years. Who exactly dared to go against the Teng family? Soon they received news from Qianshan City that it was a mysterious young man. Their images had been captured by the Teng family and were placed in the hall at this moment. These images were of Lin Xian and the others. The entire hall was filled with the patriarch of the Teng family, as well as many elders and elite martial artists. It was densely packed with people. A few of his subordinates quickly reported to him. What they were talking about was naturally what had happened in the Moonflower Palace. What did you say? Not only did this brat kill the 3rd young master in public, he even killed young Master Qianshan? When they heard this, everyone immediately screamed. They couldn't believe it. Who was it that dared to do such a big thing in Qianshan City? Moreover, it was in the Moonflower Palace. Damn it, didn't the people of the Moonflower Palace make a move? An elder roared. This was because they knew the rules of the Moonflower Palace. No one dared to make a move there, not even a peerless powerhouse. However, that brat actually made a move openly. What was even stranger was that the people of the Moonflower Palace didn't care at all. When they heard that the brat was actually invited away by the master of the Moonflower Palace, these elders were all dumbfounded. What was going on? Where did this brat come from? He was actually able to contact the people of the Moonflower Palace? And it seemed that their relationship wasn't shallow. Later on, when the matter was reported one by one, these elders were completely stunned. This was because they discovered that the other party was too powerful. He didn't seem like a young man at all. It seemed that it was this brat who did it. They didn't know what family force was behind him to be able to destroy the 4 Jiuli demons. No matter who he is, if he dares to provoke our Ting family, we will definitely not let him off. That's for sure. We must catch that brat and tear him into pieces. The elders of the Ting family roared angrily. The Ting family patriarch's face was also gloomy. He began to issue orders. Gather all forces and track down that brat's whereabouts for me. Go to Qianshan City and join forces with the city lord's mansion. Their young master Qianshan was killed. I don't believe that they won't be angry. With our 2 forces joining forces, no matter how strong that brat is, he won't be able to contend against us. Do you really think that our Ting family only has the 4 Jiuli demons? At this point, the Ting family patriarch's eyes emitted a cold light. Indeed, their Ting family wasn't an ordinary family, but an invincible king family. With an invincible king overseeing the family, it could be said to be incomparably terrifying. No matter how strong the other party was, could he contend against an invincible king? Soon these martial artists of the Ting family moved out. Many people rushed to Qianshan City, preparing to join forces with the city lord's mansion. Chapter 2335. This group of people was naturally from the Tai dynasty. They had chased after Lin Xian all the way and had never given up on hunting him down. Finally they arrived at Qianshan City. However, when they heard the news from Qianshan City, they frowned. They were too late. Moreover, what shocked them was that Lin Xian had done something big in Qianshan City. It was even possible that the death of the Jiuli 4 demons had something to do with him. That kid was too arrogant. How dare he offend anyone? An old man from the Tai dynasty frowned. A middle-aged man next to him said in a deep voice, "Don't forget that he even dared to kill the Golden Lion King. What else did he not dare to do?" Hearing that, everyone fell silent. Indeed, the Golden Lion King was a genius of the war tribe. If he was killed, the Jiuli 4 demons were nothing. When they heard that young Master Qiansan was killed, they decided to go to the governor's mansion. They thought that the governor's mansion must be furious and would be very willing to cooperate with them. Sure enough, when these people arrived, the governor personally came out to welcome them. The governor was a middle-aged man who looked very dignified. However, at this moment, his face was extremely gloomy. That was because his son had been killed in his own city. This made him unusually angry. However, he could not find the other party now. Moreover, the other party had a terrifying strength behind him, which made him feel extremely aggrieved. But now the people from the Tai dynasty had arrived. Moreover, he also learned that the other party was a wanted criminal of the Tai dynasty. The governor revealed a sinister smile. Immediately, he joined forces with the powerhouses of the Tai dynasty to capture the other party. The 2 parties discussed in the main hall. However, half a day later, another group of people arrived. They landed. The people from the governor's mansion were surprised and hurriedly went out. Those people who came were naturally from the Ting family. They were also very surprised. They did not expect that there would be other people besides them. Moreover, what shocked them even more was that the other party was a powerhouse from the Tai dynasty. When the Ting family learned about what happened, they were shocked and immediately joined forces with the other 3 families. Moreover, the Ting family suggested that they join forces with more families. This was because Lin Xian had not only killed the people from the Ting family in the governor's mansion, but also many young masters from the big families. Therefore, they wanted to join forces with those families. Sure enough, those clans responded one after another. If they were asked to come out alone to take revenge, they wouldn't dare. But now, with the city lord's mansion, the Ting family, and the Tai dynasty taking the lead, they were filled with confidence. Therefore, they all joined the revenge team. When these people joined forces, they formed a super powerful force. Very quickly, they headed towards the place where the great devil was killed. The group of people finally arrived at the location of the battle. They looked at the scene around them and gasped. It was clear that the battle was very fierce. However, they were not here to enjoy the battle. Instead, they were here to track the other party. Soon, several figures landed on the Tai dynasty's side. Similarly, 2 figures descended from the city lord's mansion and the Teng family. After these people came down, their eyes shone brightly, and mysterious runes surrounded them. They grabbed at the air as if they were trying to catch something. There was even a young man who was pinching his fingers non-stop, as if he was trying to divine something. "How is it?" General Xianying asked in a deep voice. At the side, the eyes of the elders of the city lord's mansion and the Teng family also flickered. "Northwest." The young man looked into the distance and said in a clear voice, "Whoosh." The group flew for about 100,000 li before stopping again. The young man divined again. 30,000 li to the left. They set off again. On the other side, in an uninhabited valley, Lin Xian and the others were resting. Beside them was a huge black ship. There was a terrifying hole on it. This black ship was the Black Demon ship. It had been directly hit by the Black Earth and was damaged. At this moment it could no longer fly. However, if it could be repaired, it would still be a subheaven artifact. Moreover, the energy required to power the Black Demon ship was much less than the Black Earth. It was just right for Lin Xian to use now. Therefore, Lin Xian and the Dark Red Divine Dragon were discussing how to repair the Black Demon ship. On the other side, Murong Qingqing, Zhao Zhirua, and the others sat together, chatting and resting. After all, the previous battle had indeed made them nervous. Now it was time to relax. "Junior brother Lin, I don't think there's anything else, so I'll go home first. After all, such a big thing has happened. I have to inform the family." Zhao Zhirua stood up. On the side, Xiao Kuang also said, "Yes, brother Lin, we are also preparing to return to the Hong sect. Brother Lin, I can't bear to part with you." Ling pouted. "Don't worry, when I'm free I can go to the Hong sect to find you," Lin Xian said with a smile. Then he looked at the others. "Do you need me to send you back?" "No need, we should be safe if we go back now." Zhao Zhirua and Xiao Kuang shook their heads. "Junior sister Qingqing, what about you?" Zhao Zhirua looked at Murong Qingqing. Murong Qingqing said, "I want to stay with brother Xian for a while, and we also have some things to investigate." However, just as she finished speaking, the purple bell on her waist started to shake rapidly. Seeing this scene, Murong Qingqing frowned. On the side, Zhao Zhirua also said, "This matter?" The sacred ground was sending a message. Could it be that something had happened? It seemed that he had to go back first. Murong Qingqing sighed, "Brother Xian, something happened in the sacred ground, I'm afraid I have to go back first." Lin Xian rubbed Qingqing's hair. "If you have something to do, go back, don't worry about me. There would be plenty of opportunities to meet in the future." "Alright, this is the information about that place, you can take it back to the sacred ground." Lin Xian took out a jade slip and gave it to Murong Qingqing. Inside was some information about the nest of 10,000 dragons. "Okay." Murong Qingqing took it and said softly, "Brother Xian, be careful, the Ting family won't let this matter rest. Don't worry, with the Black Earth, I won't be in danger." Lin Xian smiled. On the side, Zhao Zhirua also said, "Junior sister, I'll go back with you." The two of them soared into the sky and quickly disappeared. On the other side, Xiao Kuang also left. Only Lin Xian and the Dark Red Dragon were left. Lin Xian took a deep breath. "Let's go." He prepared to explore the Black Demon ship above. The most important thing now was to increase his strength. Only then would he have the qualifications to propose to the Jade Lake sacred ground. With a flash, Lin Xian and the Dark God Dragon boarded the Black Demon ship. There were palaces and pavilions everywhere, and the deck was engraved with runes. Lin Xian and An Hong swept their gazes across it. Then they nodded in satisfaction. The two of them quickly inquired, but not long after, the Dark Red Dragon frowned. "Brat, there seems to be a fluctuation inside?" "I feel it too." Lin Xian stood up and frowned. Chapter 2336. Lin Xian stood up and frowned. His eyes shone with a golden light as he looked ahead. In front of him on the right, he could feel the fluctuations of life coming from a pavilion. Lin Xian was very surprised. He did not sense it before. Now that he was closer, he realized that there was someone inside. Who was it? He did not know. However, he secretly circulated his inner force and even drew his ancient sword. After all, the black ship belonged to the 4 demons of Jiuli. The person inside must be related to the 4 demons of Jiuli. Therefore he had to be careful. The two of them carefully walked toward the pavilion in front of them. When they arrived, Lin Xian's frown deepened. That was because the entire pavilion was covered with runes that had been sealed. There must be some kind of secret to be so secretive. Lin Xian said. "Ruffian dragon, hurry up and undo it." The dark red divine dragon waved its dragon claws and quickly unraveled the rune formation. These runes were very mysterious. Under normal circumstances, it would take a few days to unravel them. However, the black demon ship was now broken and could not continue to provide energy. Therefore, it was not difficult to unravel the runes of the formation. This was probably why Lin Xian hadn't sensed any life fluctuations before, but now he did. It was probably because the formation had weakened that the fluctuations of life could be felt. Boom, boom, boom. The runes in front of them disappeared, revealing a red door. Lin Xian slapped it open. Let's go. Light bloomed from their bodies. Lin Xian even used the dragon sword domain to protect his body. Then the two of them walked in. However, not long after they entered, the two of them were stunned. The dark red divine dragon's eyes were wide open. What the hell? What's going on? Lin Xian was also very surprised because the scene was completely different from what he had expected. The person in front of them was not a ferocious enemy but a little girl. There was a huge black stone pillar in front of them. It was engraved with demonic runes. In front of the stone pillar was a little girl. She had delicate features and was very beautiful. She looked to be about 15 or 16 years old. The little girl was tied to the black stone pillar. Black 9 nether flowers were crawling all over her body, binding her tightly. When she saw Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon enter, the little girl in front of them began to cry. There was fear and pleading in her beautiful big eyes. What's going on? Why is a little girl tied here? Lin Xian and the dark red divine dragon were very puzzled. But it seemed like she was also tied by the 4 demons of Jiuli. But why did the 4 demons want to tie a little girl? Did this little girl offend the Teng family too? They didn't know, but the two of them walked up and prepared to rescue the little girl. Ruffian dragon. And Lin Xian. The dark red divine dragon nodded and started to walk around the black stone pillar. Then it said, "Damn, these Jiuli 4 devils are too perverted." He had actually set up 18 layers of defense to tie up a little girl. If it wasn't for the black demon ship breaking apart and the energy disappearing, we probably wouldn't have known that there were people inside. Was it easy to decipher? Lin Xian asked. Don't worry, leave it to me. I don't care about this kind of formation. The dark red divine dragon waved its claws and quickly broke the formation. The little girl, on the other hand, was blinking her black eyes. About half a day later, the 18 defensive arrays were broken. Only the 9 nether flowers were left on the ground. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He waved his sword and cut the 9 nether flowers in half. All of the flowers were destroyed. The little girl was saved. Her large, black, jewel-like eyes were filled with shock. She couldn't believe that she had been saved. What's your name, little girl? Are you scared out of your wits? The dark red divine dragon asked when it saw that the little girl still did not leave even though the formation was no longer around her. However, the little girl lowered her head and grabbed the corner of her clothes with her small hands. She was very afraid. She was not sure who the 2 people in front of her were. Forget it, come out with us. Lin Xian waved his hand and did not force her. He could tell that she was very afraid. She would probably be fine after spending some time with him. Lin Xian's soul probed and looked at her. He was relieved to find that she was not injured. Therefore he looked around. Other than the little girl being held captive, the rest of the place was empty and there was nothing else. Lin Xian reincarnated and left the pavilion. Then he went to other buildings. There were many resources, treasures, cultivation methods, and weapons, but there was no one else. This made Lin Xian very curious about the little girl's identity and why she was imprisoned by the 4 Jiuli demons. However, her identity must not be simple. Otherwise, demon kings like the 4 Jiuli demons would have set up so many formations. He looked around. Lin Xian had a general understanding of the black demon ship. Then he jumped off the black demon ship and went to the side. The dark red divine dragon was sorting out the treasures and resources. The little girl also followed Lin Xian off the black demon ship. However, she did not dare to get too close and kept a distance of 4 to 5 meters from Lin Xian. What's your name? Why are you locked up here? Lin Xian sat down and looked at her, puzzled. However, that little girl didn't say anything. Her large black eyes were blinking non-stop. Lin Xian shook his head and did not force her. However, at this moment, he heard her stomach growling, and the corners of his mouth immediately curled up into a smile. With a wave of his hand he built a fire. Then Lin Xian smiled and said, Ruffian dragon, go and catch a few demon beasts. Alright, catch a few with meat. Got it. I've become an errand boy. The dark red divine dragon reluctantly flew into the distance. The snow-white little monkey also came out of the black earth and flew into the distance. It seemed that it had gone to pick some. After about half an hour, the two of them flew back. Bang! The dark red divine dragon threw down a demon bull. The demon bull was green in color and had 2 heads. It looked very ferocious. His body was very big, like a small mountain. Therefore, when it landed, the ground cracked. Apart from that, the dark red divine dragon also caught a few blue-eyed demon rabbits. These were not ordinary rabbits. Each of them was more than 2 meters tall. Although they were dead, their bodies were still emitting terrifying demonic chi. Wuxia on the other side, the snow-white little monkey flew over with a small mountain of spirit fruits in its hand. These were all picked by it. These fruits were crystal clear and filled with spiritual energy. The snow-white little monkey picked a few and hid them well. It seemed that they were snacks for itself. It picked up the rest and ate happily. As it ate, it threw the fruits to Lin Xian and the little girl. When the snow-white little monkey came out, the little girl stared at it unblinkingly because she found the snow-white little monkey too cute. Wuxia, the snow-white little monkey carried 2 spirit fruits and came in front of the little girl. A smile finally appeared on the little girl's face, and she even reached out to rub the little fox's head. Lin Xian smiled faintly when he saw this. Chapter 23:37. Soon, piles of barbecued meat were placed on top of the bonfire. Lin Xian flicked his finger and hellfire gushed out, quickly roasting the meat. The hellfire burned away all the demonic energy in the meat, ensuring that there was no harm to the human body. Soon, the barbecued meat turned golden. Lin Xian tasted it and found it delicious. I can't wait any longer. The crimson dragon tore off a cow leg. It was as big as a house and enjoyed its meal. On the other side, the little white monkey also jumped over and snatched one. The little girl swallowed her saliva and blinked her big black eyes. Obviously, she also wanted to eat. Come over. Lin Xian beckoned. The little girl hesitated. She realized that the man and 2 beasts in front of her didn't seem like bad guys. Therefore, she walked over. Lin Xian gave it a piece of demon rabbit meat and ate a bit of it himself. He asked as he ate, "What's your name?" "Xia Xingqian." "What a nice name." Lin Xian nodded. Then he asked, "How were you captured? Why did the 4 Jilly demons capture you?" "I don't know." Xia Xingqian shook her head. "I snuck out of my house to play and was then captured by those bad guys. They've been trapping me for almost a month." At this point, Xia Xingqian lowered her head with an aggrieved expression. Indeed, no one would be happy to be captured and trapped for a month for no reason. However, Lin Xian felt that things weren't that simple. This Xia Xingqian's identity was very special. Otherwise, the 4 Jilly demons wouldn't have captured an ordinary person. However, Lin Xian didn't sense any particularly powerful aura from Xia Xingqian. It seemed that she had cultivated before, but her cultivation wasn't high. Therefore Lin Xian asked, "Where's your house? I'll send you back." She was just a little girl and her cultivation wasn't that high. If she were to walk back on her own, she would probably be in deep trouble. Anyway, he wasn't in a hurry. He might as well send her back first. Yes, Peach Blossom Island. Xia Xingqian thought for a moment and told him her home. Hearing this name, Lin Xian was stunned. Peach Blossom Island? He had never heard of him. At the side, the dark red divine dragon almost bit off its tongue. "Where? Peach Blossom Island? What, you know?" Lin Xian asked. Judging from the other party's expression, he should know. The dark red dragon nodded. Of course it knew. However, Peach Blossom Island is located in the East Sea. That was a place even further east than the Eastern Wilderness. Why did you come to Jianghu State? Was this the Central State? Isn't it the Eastern Wilderness? Xingqian was also surprised. She scratched her head and took a bite of the rabbit meat. I don't know. I just came out to play for a few days. At this point, Xia Xingqian's face twitched and tears were about to fall. Don't you cry. Lin Xian comforted. Although Peach Blossom Island is a bit far, you can rest assured that I will definitely send you back. However, this might take a long time. Lin Xian decided to help the little girl because he was the one who had saved her. Moreover, looking at her pitiful appearance, he couldn't bear to see her homeless. However, it was impossible for him to return to the Eastern Wilderness now. He still had things to do. Therefore, he decided to keep her by his side for a while. Although he was facing a lot of pursuers, he believed that it would be very safe to place the other party in the Black Earth. After that, Xia Xingqian stayed by Lin Xian's side. Xiaobai, let me give you a bath, okay? Xia Xingqian hugged the little white monkey and kept rubbing its head. Little dragon, take me to the sky. Not long after, Xia Xingqian grabbed the dark red dragon's tail and shook it non-stop. The dark red dragon bared its fangs in displeasure. However, in the end it bent down and pulled Xia Xingqian up. Then it flew in the valley. Wow, this is great. We can fly. Xia Xingchen was very happy. Lin Xian looked at this scene and was very surprised. One had to know that he had wanted to use the dark red dragon as a free mount more than once. However, the dark red divine dragon would never agree. In the end, Lin Xian gave up. However, he didn't expect the dark red dragon to carry someone. This was too surprising. What kind of magic does this Xia Xingchen have? Big brother Lin, I'm hungry. I want to eat roasted rabbit. Xia Xingchen flew for a while and came over to grab Lin Xian's arm. Lin Xian could only give her roasted rabbit. 2 days passed like this. Lin Xian put away the black demon ship. Then the group entered the Black Earth. Let's go. Lin Xian decided to go to the border of the Nine Serenities dynasty. He wanted to lie low for a while. At the same time, he wanted to find some blacksmiths to see if they could repair the black demon ship. If he took out the black demon ship in this area, it would definitely attract the attention of those people. After all, the black demon ship was too famous. However, if he went to the border, things would be different. The forces there were complicated. If it really didn't work, he could go to the opposite country. Not long after Lin Xian and the others left, a black cloud appeared in the sky and pressed down. If one looked carefully, they would realize that it wasn't a black cloud, but people. Countless figures densely packed together. They were like celestial soldiers and generals, floating in the void and emitting a terrifying aura. It directly shattered heaven and earth. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. More than a dozen figures descended from the sky and arrived at the valley below. They looked around and then frowned. There were many bones of demonic beasts and traces of fire here. It was obvious that someone had lived here. An old man said in a deep voice. These people were the joint forces of the Tai dynasty, the Ting family, and the city lord's residence. At this moment they had chased all the way here. Damn it, we were still one step too late. A general of the city lord's residence gritted his teeth with an unwilling expression. It seemed that the other party hadn't been gone for long. Mr. Park. Everyone looked at the young man in white. The young man narrowed his eyes and grabbed the aura around him. Then he pinched his fingers and calculated. Soon he revealed a cold smile. Don't worry, he won't be able to escape. This time I can clearly lock onto him. Thank you, Mr. Park. The few powerhouses were overjoyed. Then the group flew into the distance. In the void, the Black Earth flew quickly. Lin Xian turned off all the functions and maintained the flying state. This was because he couldn't afford it. However, if it was just flying, it was fine. He could still bear it. Inside the Black Earth, Lin Xian sat cross-legged and silently cultivated. In front, Xia Xingchen and the snow-white little monkey were playing, while the dark red divine dragon was studying a new formation. However, at this moment Lin Xian suddenly opened his eyes. His eyelids were twitching violently, and there were even golden runes floating out of his eyes. What's going on? Seeing this, the dark red divine dragon at the side also turned its head. It didn't know why, but it felt uneasy. Lin Xian also frowned. This had never happened with the heavenly secret god eyes before. Chapter 23:38. After all, these eyes were not his, but a gift from someone else. Although he felt that they had completely fused, he still did not know if they had truly fused. Now that something like this had happened, Lin Xian could not help but feel suspicious. In the distance, He Tu also floated over. He looked at the golden runes and said, I once heard that the heavenly secret divine eyes are very mysterious and seems to be able to warn you. Are you being targeted by someone? It's possible. The dark red divine dragon also said that the Ting family would not let this matter rest. After all, their family had invincible experts. Moreover, the Tai dynasty and the war tribe would probably chase after them. Lin Xian also frowned. It seemed that it was really a warning. He did not expect the heavenly secret divine eyes to have such a function. Why didn't he notice it before? Indeed, he had been hunted down many times in the past and was almost killed by the assassins of hell. At that time, the heavenly secret divine eyes did not warn him in advance. What was going on? How could he not understand? He realized that this pair of eyes was too mysterious, as if there were endless mysteries waiting for him to discover. He Tu changed direction. Lin Xian said. He Tu controlled the spirit ship and changed direction, flying in another direction. Sure enough, after a period of time, the light in Lin Xian's eyes disappeared. That feeling of uneasiness also disappeared. This made Lin Xian breathe a sigh of relief. Behind them, in a place extremely far away, a group of people flew quickly. Among them, the young man sneered and changed direction. Could it be that the other party found out? What's going on? Is that brat trying to escape? The surrounding experts were also worried. The young man in white sneered. Don't worry, he will definitely not be able to escape from my hands. As he spoke, he pinched his fingers and started to deduce. Mysterious Tao runes appeared around him, covering the void. It was very profound. It made people feel dizzy just by looking at it. Over here. Not long after, the young man in white opened his eyes. Boom boom. The huge spirit ship under their feet was also flying quickly. In front. In the black earth, Lin Xian's heart beat wildly again, and that uneasy feeling appeared again. At the same time, mysterious runes flashed in his eyes. What's going on? Why is this feeling coming again? Lin Xian frowned. He felt like he was being watched. He told Crimson Shenong and He-Tu about this feeling again. The two of them were also very confused after hearing it. Oh no, looks like we've been targeted. Dark Red Shenong angrily slapped his dragon claw. Being targeted? What did that mean? Aren't we being hunted down? No, it's different. He-Tu also explained. It seems that this time, someone used the great deduction technique to directly lock onto your position. This was different from a blind pursuit. This time they're heading straight for you. Great deduction technique. Lock onto the position? Lin Xian was shocked. This was the first time he had heard of such a thing. No wonder he had such an uneasy feeling. No wonder his heavenly secret divine eyes would send out such an unusual warning. Damn it, who is it? Ting family? City Lord's mansion? Or the Tai dynasty? Lin Xian frowned. No matter who it was, it would probably be a fierce battle. So in the next moment he changed his position again. And from then on, Lin Xian kept changing his position every once in a while. Every time he changed his position, his uneasy feeling would disappear. But not long after, the uneasy feeling would appear again. Obviously, the other party had locked onto him again and again. Damn it. Seeing this scene, Lin Xian's face darkened. He didn't expect the other party to be an expert who could lock onto his position so clearly. In the next moment he asked in a low voice, "Can you erase our tracks? For example, hide our presence or set up an isolation array?" It's useless. Dark Red Shenong shrugged and said helplessly, "This kind of deduction technique is very mysterious. Even if the presence is isolated, he can still find us. It seems to be related to the heavenly Tao of fate. In short, it's very mysterious." Indeed, He-Tu also said, "This kind of diviner is very rare. Their honorable status is no less than that of a seeker spirit master. The more famous ones are the Astrology Pavilion and the Divine Fortune-Telling Sect." It was just that he didn't know which clan's expert had made a move this time. Astrology Pavilion? Divine Fortune-Telling Sect? Lin Xian frowned. In the next moment he didn't give up and sealed his presence. He even directly activated the Black Earth's array to isolate everything. However, the sense of danger did not disappear. Obviously, Dark Red Shenong and He-Tu were right. Speed up. Lin Xian had no choice but to grit his teeth and speed up the Black Earth. However, it was obvious that the people behind them were prepared and also sped up. Finally, the gap between the two sides was getting closer and closer. And Lin Xian's uneasy feeling was getting stronger and stronger. On the 11th day, Lin Xian finally sensed a gigantic spirit vessel behind him that was charging towards him at high speed. Umph. He snorted and stood up. Since he couldn't avoid it, he would fight. Cultivators like us don't fear a battle. He took out the ancient dragon abyss sword. Hee, this time I will take the first kill. Dark Red Shenong also stood up. Xingqian, stay here and play with Xiaobai. Don't go out. Xia Xingqian nodded. Big brother Lin, be careful. Then Lin Xian and Dark Red Shenong left the Black Earth in a flash. He-Tu also shrank into an earring and hung on Lin Xian's ear. When Lin Xian and Dark Red Shenong appeared, the huge spirit ship behind them also stopped and floated in the void. On the spirit ship there were people densely packed. Not only that, this was the first spirit ship. Behind it there were 3 other spirit ships. In addition, there were all kinds of birds and beasts around. It was very terrifying. On those beasts there were people standing. Each of them was murderous and had piercingly cold gazes. They all looked forward and stared at Lin Xian. Boom boom boom. In an instant, the void in front of them shattered. It couldn't withstand the terrifying pressure at all. You're Lin Xian? Many elders shouted coldly. On the other side, the martial artists in black armor roared, "Kneel down and accept your death." On the spirit ship, General Xianing was wearing armor and looking forward. "Kid, I've finally caught you. Do you have any last words? Hurry up and stay." Cold voices resounded one after another, piercing through the 9 heavens like swords of murder. Countless figures appeared in the surroundings. They were murderous and completely surrounded Lin Xian. At the same time, angry roars sounded, "How dare you kill our young master? Today will be the day you die. You think you can kill me with just trash like you? Terrifying sound waves reverberated. In an instant, the beasts around Lin Xian exploded. That powerful force enveloped all the warriors on the demonic beast's back. Chapter 23:39. In an instant, nearly 100 warriors turned into blood mist and scattered in the air. Damn it. Seeing this scene, the remaining people felt their scalps go numb. Who the hell is he? With a roar, he killed more than 100 warriors. This was too terrifying. They were shocked. Kid, don't be so arrogant. Today is the day you die. On the spiritual boat, the powerhouse of the Tai dynasty shouted coldly. On the other side, the people of the city lord's mansion emitted a terrifying murderous aura. The warriors of the Teng family sneered. With the three superpowers taking the lead, the remaining families also settled down. That's right. This time there were thousands of soldiers and horses. Even a peerless supreme being would not be able to escape. It could be said that the other party would definitely die. If you want to kill me, you have to pay the price. Who wants to go first? Lin Xian stood in the void and looked around. He emitted a terrifying murderous aura that spread for thousands of miles. I'll kill you. A young man walked out. He was wearing a blue armor that shone like stars. He was a peerless genius from the city lord's mansion. He stood out with a long spear in his hand and snorted coldly. Kid, I know there's a mysterious powerhouse behind you. Otherwise, it's impossible for you to kill the 4 demons of Jioli. Since the powerhouse behind you won't make a move, you won't be enough. Today I'll kill you to avenge my brother. It turned out that he was the elder brother of young Master Qian Shan. His name was Qian Yu. At this moment he stood in the void, looking valiant. The blue armor on his body shone brightly like the stars in the sky. The blue star spear in his hand shone with a cold light. Not enough. Lin Xian glanced at him with a disdainful smile. How dare a top-tier supreme being fight with him? He's courting death. Moreover, from these people's words, he could tell that they did not think he killed the 4 demons of Jioli with his own hands. They all thought that there was a terrifying and mysterious power behind him. Well, let these people be confused. He would teach these people a painful lesson. Brat, you're courting death. Seeing that he was being looked down upon, Qian Yu roared. He lifted his spear, and the terrifying spear transformed into a river of stars that rapidly surged through the air towards Lin Xian. Many people cried out in surprise because Qian Yu's strength was too strong. At such a young age, he had already surpassed many of the older generation. It could be said that he was an incomparably terrifying genius. He was overestimating himself. Lin Xian sneered. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Then he clenched his fist and punched out. Black flames burned. His fist was like a black sun. It surged out and illuminated the surroundings. Boom. With a loud bang, the Milky Way in the sky split open, turning into spiritual qi and dissipating in all directions. As for the black fist, it was not damaged in the slightest. It continued to rapidly charge forward. In the blink of an eye, he arrived before Qian Yu. Damn it, how could he be so strong? Qian Yu's expression changed. He felt a strong sense of danger. Previously, he did not believe that the other party was powerful because everything was just a legend. No matter how strong the other party was, it was impossible to kill a peerless almighty. As long as the other party was not a peerless almighty, he had the confidence to kill the other party. But now it seemed that it was not the case. The other party's strength far exceeded his. He could even shatter his attack with one punch. Damn it, I don't believe it. Qian Yu shouted angrily. He did not dare to believe it. Endless light appeared on his body, preparing to use his strongest attack. Sky-splitting divine spear. A spear pierced out, shattering heaven and earth. The terrifying spear light pierced through the 9 heavens, causing the surrounding people to feel a chill down their spines. One could imagine how terrifying this spear was. However, it was a pity that this spear only pierced an afterimage. Lin Xian relied on his superb speed to dodge instantly. In an instant he appeared behind the other party. Is this all you've got? Too weak. With your little strength, you still dare to come and kill me? Cultivate for another 1,000 years. A cold voice sounded behind Qian Yu. Immediately, Qian Yu's body stiffened, and a strong sense of horror appeared in his eyes. Damn it, how could the other party's speed be so fast? He did not react at all. At the next moment, he roared angrily and attacked with a backhand. Boom crack. However, he started to scream miserably. The reason for that was because his arm had been directly broken by his opponent. Uncle, save me. Qian Yu roared crazily, his eyes full of horror. At this moment he no longer dared to act tough and only wanted to escape. "Damn it, let my nephew go." In the distance, on a spirit boat, a middle-aged man roared. He raised his hand and struck out a red cloud of fire, which swept over here, wanting to save Jianghu. "Save Jianghu? Stop dreaming. Since you came to kill me, you should be prepared to be killed." Lin Xian's arm shook, and suddenly Jianghu in front of him directly exploded and turned into a blood mist. He waved his sleeve and the blood mist in the sky instantly drifted away. Looking at this scene, everyone was stunned. They could not believe that a peerless genius was killed in one move just like that. God, who can tell me? What the hell is going on? How could this kid's strength be so powerful? Looking at this scene, the surrounding people were about to go crazy. The middle-aged man from the city lord's mansion roared crazily. He did not expect that the genius on their side would be killed in an instant by the other party. How could he endure this? How was he going to explain it when he returned? So with a roar he attacked crazily. The fiery clouds in the sky surged over overwhelmingly. Boom boom boom. The void shattered in an instant, and the terrifying flames with extremely high temperature made everyone feel hot. They even felt like they were being burned. Lin Xian snorted coldly and did not dodge at all. At the next moment he raised his hand and struck out a blue palm, which instantly flew out and collided with the other party. There was an explosion of energy that blotted out the sky. The sky was frozen, and the terrifying fiery clouds were frozen in an instant. Not only that, the middle-aged man on the opposite side vomited a large mouthful of blood. Countless frost on his body instantly disappeared, and the chi and blood in his body were frozen. Damn it, how could he be so strong? The middle-aged man vomited a large mouthful of blood, and his face was full of shock. In just one move he was seriously injured. He was so terrified that he did not dare to attack again. Seeing this scene, the others were terrified again. Who the hell was this person? He was too terrifying. However, on the spirit boat, General Xian Ying snorted coldly. He waved his hand and a cold voice sounded. "Everyone listen to my order, kill." Attack together, he could not fight against everyone. Yes. The powerhouses on the Tai Empire's side shouted angrily, and then rushed forward together. "Kill him. Avenge our clan's powerhouse." The elders on the Ting family's side also shouted angrily, and the shadows of flying snakes appeared on their bodies, roaring in all directions. The sky was full of divine abilities and they were attacking this side. The people from the city lord's mansion were also full of killing intent. One of their young geniuses had died in front of them, so how could they not go crazy? Chapter 2340. With the three major factions attacking, the surrounding family members no longer hesitated. They shouted angrily and attacked together. Boom, boom, boom. Up in the sky, on the ground, in all directions, there were terrifying energy waves that completely covered the entire sky. "Ruffian dragon, do it. Don't hold back," Lin Xian said in a deep voice. Armor appeared on his body, and the ice goddess statue appeared to protect him. Above his head, the dragon sword realm floated up and down. Under his feet, the demon-slaying sword array quickly recovered, and he kept swinging the ancient dragon abyss sword in his hand. Facing so many experts, Lin Xian did not dare to be careless. On the other side, the dark red divine dragon was also roaring. His body suddenly expanded and turned into a divine dragon that was 100 feet long. He bared his fangs and brandished his claws in the air. He opened his mouth and spat out balls of dragon flame. Not only that, but dark clouds gathered in the sky. Lightning, strong winds, and torrential rain poured down. Those who were touched by the flames vomited large mouthfuls of blood and were severely injured. The two of them attacked with all their might, and it was truly terrifying. For a moment, the energy waves that were rushing from all directions were shattered. Large groups of martial artists vomited blood and were sent flying. The weaker ones exploded or were split in half. In short, it was very miserable. The sky was instantly dyed red. The blood was absorbed by the demon-slaying sword array under his feet. Then, the blood turned into demonic beasts that roared ferociously in all directions. Damn it! He's too powerful. Many people were terrified. However, the attack did not dissipate. Because this time, the Tai dynasty had mobilized all their forces to capture that person. They had many experts on their side. Sure enough, in the crowd, an old man snorted coldly. He waved his hand and a 5-colored rainbow fell from the sky. The rainbow was very dreamy. It turned into a light curtain and enveloped Lin Xian. It was the 5-colored divine red. Many people exclaimed. However, an old man shouted coldly. No, that's the tail of the five-colored divine bird. I didn't expect it to be a cosmic artifact. It was absolutely terrifying. The five-colored divine bird was a kind of exotic beast from ancient times. It was very terrifying. The five-colored feathers on his body were excellent materials for refining artifacts. He did not expect that someone would really succeed. Needless to say, the one who attacked was definitely a terrifying expert from the Tai dynasty. Sure enough, the five-colored rainbow was extremely terrifying. It was like a bottle of heavenly sabers descending, capable of destroying everything. Let's see how you're going to block this. The old man sneered. This five-colored rainbow was a treasure that he had refined for more than 800 years. Its power was extremely terrifying. Thinking about it, the other party would definitely not be able to escape. Whoosh. Lin Xian naturally felt the power of the five-colored rainbow from the energy that filled the sky. In the next moment, his feet flashed and his speed suddenly exploded, leaving the place in an instant. Crack. The original void was directly shattered, and Lin Xian appeared in another place. At the same time, he raised his hand and shot out the power of ice and fire, forming the Hell's Ice Lotus and flying to the left. Boom. Boom. The Hell's Ice Lotus blasted onto the five-colored rainbow, creating a shocking explosion. The five-colored rainbow was enveloped by the power of ice and fire and instantly shattered. As for that old man, he vomited blood and was sent flying. Disbelief filled his face. Damn it, I don't believe it. Die for me. At this moment, another person also charged over. He was an elder of the Teng family. He held a soaring snake walking stick in his hand. At this moment, it suddenly enlarged to a few thousand meters long. It looked like a real demonic beast that pounced from the sky. Its hideous head emitted a fierce light, and its mouth spewed poisonous gas that filled the sky, completely sealing the surroundings. As soon as the poisonous gas appeared, the other people's faces changed. They retreated one after another, not daring to go forward. They were afraid of being affected by the poisonous gas. Lin Xian also frowned. The poisonous gas was very strong and he must not let it get close. Therefore, in the next moment, 108,000 sword chi rushed out of his body, forming a terrifying sword screen in front of him. At the same time, he waved his hand. The terrifying hell's fire surged out and burned fiercely, wanting to burn all the poisonous gas in the sky. Whoosh, whoosh. The terrifying poisonous gas was instantly burned, and the surroundings were clear again. Damn it! How's that possible? How can he be so valiant? The elder of the Ting family was also shocked. He did not expect that even their soaring snake poisonous gas could not do anything to him. Whoosh. Nevertheless, Lin Xian's crisis was not resolved because there were too many people around him, and there were too many powerhouses. Sure enough, a cold light emerged from behind him. Like a shooting star, it quickly streaked across the void. It was a powerhouse from the governor's residence. At this moment, he seized the opportunity to launch a fatal attack. He quickly blasted toward the middle of Lin Xian's back. If Ouyangming was hit, he would definitely be pierced through and might even be killed in one blow. Sensing the terrifying aura behind him, Lin Xian snorted coldly, and the sword chi on his body became more dazzling. The terrifying sword light formed the shadow of a dragon, roaring in all directions as if a real dragon was reborn. Seeing this, the surrounding people were shocked. A real dragon? No, it's not. It's just a real shadow. An elder of the Tai dynasty said coldly. Even so, it was still terrifying. After Lin Xian was enveloped by the dragon shadow, he suddenly turned around and grabbed out with his left hand like a dragon's claw. Buzz. In the next moment, amidst the endless light, he grabbed a blue spear. This spear naturally belonged to the powerhouse from the governor's residence. He originally wanted to launch a sneak attack. However, he did not expect to be discovered by Ouyangming. Moreover, he was caught by Ouyangming. Damn it! Let go. The powerhouse roared and shook his arms, trying to shatter Lin Xian's palm. However, in the next moment he screamed in pain. Because Lin Xian held the blue spear in his left hand and waved the ancient dragon abyss sword in his right hand, directly cutting the spear in half. Lin Xian held the spearhead and waved it hard, instantly piercing into the powerhouse's body. Poof! The powerhouse spat out blood crazily and flew backward like a shooting star. Who else? If you're not afraid of death, come at me. Lin Xian held the ancient dragon abyss sword in his hand. On the other side, the dark red divine dragon was also happily fighting with a group of martial artists. The sky was filled with energy and lightning, dancing wildly. I'll fight. Take my overlord divine fist. Bang bang bang. The fist shadows waved and in an instant more than 10 figures were sent flying. Clang clang clang. Countless swords and sabers slashed on the dark red divine dragon's body, causing sparks to fly. The dark red divine dragon grimaced in pain and rolled in the air. However, the hard dragon scales blocked all the swords and sabers and did not shatter. However, the pain still made the dark red divine dragon curse loudly. Damn it, how dare you sneak attack me? I'll kick you to death. I'll kick. I'll kick. I'll kick. It kept waving it, and the heads of the surrounding 15 to 16 kings were instantly kicked to death. Damn it, this guy is too strong. Hurry up and come. We must subdue him. Many people charged towards the dark red divine dragon again. Lin Xian's side was also surrounded by countless powerhouses again. Are you competing in numbers? Chapter 23:41. Are you trying to outnumber us? The dark red divine dragon was furious. It opened its mouth and spat out formations one after another. Buzz. Terrifying sword chi surged into the sky. Endless fireballs, frost, and lightning danced in the air. In an instant, hundreds of martial artists were enveloped and screamed in pain. How could one not prepare a few more formations when traveling in the martial world? The dark red divine dragon carried a powerful killing array with it at all times in case of an emergency. Now was the time to use them. Elder, make your move. At this moment, many people on the Ting family's spirit boat shouted angrily. At this moment, an old figure stood up. His face had turned into orange peel and he looked very old. He looked like a skeleton. With every step he took, he would sway as if he would be blown away by the wind at any time. At this moment, everyone looked at him with respect. This was because he was an extremely ancient elder who was very terrifying. He had lived for about 3,000 years and was almost a living fossil. At that moment he looked ahead and frowned. His sunken eyes shone with a sharp light, like two divine lamps. If we don't get rid of this kid, the Ting family won't be at ease, the elder said coldly. Following that, the aura on his body suddenly erupted as if a peerless demon king had awakened. Buzz. He waved his sleeve and a snake's skin flew out. It turned into a mountain and pressed forward. Seeing this, many people exclaimed again and retreated. They did not dare to fight Lin Xian in close combat anymore because the void around Lin Xian shattered again. The powerful pressure made their hearts tremble. It was the Ting Serpent King's skin. It was estimated to be at least 5,000 years old. This was a great weapon of mass destruction. It contained lethal poison. Even a peerless almighty being would not be able to withstand it. Hearing this, many people hurriedly emitted light and retreated. What a joke. They did not dare to touch such a terrifying poison. Lin Xian raised his head and looked at the Vine King Serpent that was rapidly descending from the sky. He did not dodge. Instead, he waited quietly. When it was only 100 meters away from him, he made his move. The ancient dragon abyss sword slashed forward. You're overestimating yourself. Go to hell. The elder from the Ting family shouted coldly. His eyes were full of mockery. He did not expect the other party to be so arrogant. Instead of dodging, he directly resisted the Vine King Serpent. Wasn't this courting death? Could it be that the other party thought he could destroy the snakeskin? One had to know that this was left behind by a 5,000-year-old peerless great demon. Back then, the Ting Serpent King had almost stepped into the realm of an invincible demon king. Although it failed in the end, its skin was extremely tough. Perhaps even a peerless almighty would not be able to break it. His opponent was just a brat, yet he dared to be so arrogant as to resist his treasure head-on? He was simply courting death. Boom. Boom. In the sky, snakeskin mercilessly descended. On it, streaks of light flickered, and a purple demonic aura emanated from it. It was an extremely terrifying poison, and a single drop was enough to kill a powerful being. If one was wrapped in the soaring Serpent King's skin, anyone below the level of king would die without a doubt. However, what happened this time far exceeded everyone's expectations. The ancient dragon abyss sword in Lin Xian's hand emitted a biting cold sword light. The terrifying sword chi soared into the sky. It made one's heart tremble. Then the dragon source ancient sword slashed down on the snakeskin. The soaring Serpent King's demonic aura surrounded it as it tried to corrode the other party's treasure sword. However, the sword chi on the ancient sword was extremely cold. In an instant, the purple poisonous aura was completely destroyed. What? How can the poisonous aura be destroyed? That treasure sword is fine. How is this possible? What kind of treasure sword is that? Even a top-grade treasure weapon can't resist the corrosion of this poison. These people were stunned. The Ting family's martial artists were even more terrified. The elder also frowned. There was something wrong with that treasure sword. In an instant he saw the crux of the problem. Snatch his treasure sword. It's a supreme treasure sword. The Ting family's elder shouted angrily. Hearing this, many people's eyes lit up. The Ting family's martial artists moved out together. Now that the Ting family's ancient sword was blocked by the soaring Serpent King, the other party's strength should be greatly reduced. As long as they killed the other party, the ancient sword would be theirs. At this moment, not only the Ting family but the Tai dynasty, the governor's residence, and the surrounding families also moved out. Naturally, they could tell that the ancient sword was definitely powerful. It had probably surpassed an Earth-grade treasure sword. Whoosh, whoosh. In an instant, 3,000 experts came around Lin Xian. Terrifying light divine arts rained down on Lin Xian. They wanted to shatter Lin Xian. Go to hell, brat. These people sneered sinisterly. A bunch of ants, how dare you have designs on my treasure sword? Lin Xian snorted coldly. Then, the goddess of ice on his body quickly flapped its wings. A terrifying power of ice instantly surged out. Crack, crack. 3,000 experts were frozen in an instant. Lin Xian snorted coldly and threw out a punch, shattering those ice cubes quickly. 3,000 powerhouses were torn apart. Swoosh. Seeing this scene, the cultivators who wanted to charge forward stopped in their tracks. Their faces were filled with horror. Damn it, what's going on? He's still so powerful without the treasure sword. They realized that they were wrong. The other party's strength didn't just rely on the terrifying treasure sword. Retreat. Many people felt that something was wrong and frantically retreated. Lin Xian sneered. Don't you think it's too late to leave now? He flicked his finger, and a dragon-shaped sword wave spread out in all directions with him as the center. Buff, buff. The sword wave was too sharp. It carried the power of the great dragon sword soul and was incomparably sharp. The void shattered in an instant, and those martial artists were instantly affected. Buff. They were split in half and fell from the sky. In an instant, more than 8,000 martial artists were killed. Old man, it's your turn now. After dealing with those people around him, Lin Xian looked at the skinny old man in the distance again. He could be considered a living fossil. He was more than 3,000 years old. Whether it was his combat experience or combat awareness, he was very terrifying. How could such a person not be angry when he was looked down upon by a brat? Of course, the anger of a living fossil was different from the anger of an ordinary person. He wouldn't rush forward impulsively. He wanted to analyze the other party's weakness and take a targeted killing move. The living fossil of the Ting family snorted and waved the snake-headed walking stick in his hand. Instantly, the Rattan King snake in the sky bloomed with light and emitted a terrifying aura. The snakeskin seemed to have come alive and instantly enveloped the ancient dragon abyss sword, completely binding it. Bus, bus, bus. The ancient sword was bound in the sky and left Lin Xian's hand. Seeing this scene, everyone laughed crazily. Ha ha! Great brat! Let's see what else you can do without the treasure sword. Kneel and wait for your death. How dare you fight against the living fossil of the Ting family? You're courting death. Chapter 2342. How dare you fight against the Ting family's living fossil? You're courting death. The Ting family's martial artists sneered. General Xianying and the others also snorted when they saw this. The corners of their mouths curled up into a sneer. It seemed that joining forces with the Nine Li dynasty's experts and clans was the right choice. However, the other party was too arrogant. Not long after coming to the Nine Li dynasty, he offended countless big clans. This time he was definitely dead. Looking at the bound ancient dragon abyss sword above, Lin Xian was not anxious or angry. This was because he knew that the ancient dragon abyss sword was a heaven-grade treasure sword. Its power was beyond their imagination. No matter how powerful the Ting King snake's skin was, it could not damage the ancient dragon source sword. Therefore, he was not in a hurry to retrieve the sword. He decided to play with these people. Don't these people think that I'm only relying on the treasure sword? Fine, I'll kill them with my bare hands. I'll let them know my true strength. Idiots. On the other side, the dark red divine dragon looked over while fighting and snorted in disdain. He knew about Lin Xian's strength. How dare these people look down on him? They must be courting death. Sure enough, in the next moment those people screamed. This was because Lin Xian did not snatch the ancient dragon abyss sword. Instead he charged forward. His target was the Ting family's spirit boat. Courting death. Seeing that the other party was charging directly at them, the martial artists on the spirit boat were all furious. The illusory Ting snake behind them quickly soared into the sky, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws as it charged forward. Tsk tsk. Bang bang. In an instant, the void in front of them exploded. However, it was useless. Lin Xian waved his hand, grabbed the illusory figures and rubbed them with force. Boom. The terrifying illusory Teng snake was directly torn into two. This scene was too terrifying. It was too shocking. Those who were torn into pieces vomited blood crazily. Many of them directly split open. Undead meat? I'm only relying on the treasure sword? Lin Xian sneered. As he spoke, he opened and closed his fists, bombarding the surroundings. At this moment, he had already charged onto the spirit boat and was surrounded by the Ting family's martial artists. Everything that was hit by the fist was smashed apart and turned into a bloody mist. At the spur of the moment, hundreds of Ting family's martial artists were killed. Damn it, kill him. I must kill him. The eyes of the Ting clan's warriors turned red while the living fossil snorted coldly. Who would have thought that the other party would still be so domineering even without a sword? However, the other party was truly courting death by coming to their spirit vessel. In the next moment, the snake-headed walking stick in his hand swayed gently, and countless arrays formed on the spirit boat. Buzz buzz buzz, the chains danced in the air and instantly wrapped around Lin Xian. Lin Xian's arms, limbs, and head were all bound and dropped to the ground. This is great. The kings of the Ting family heaved a sigh of relief and cheered. Mighty ancestor. Was this the living fossil of the Teng clan? It was indeed powerful. When the other King Almighty saw this, they were also extremely shocked. Such a powerful genius had been subdued in an instant. Kill him. The Ting clan's martial artists surrounded them again. They stood below and looked up at Lin Xian, who was hanging in the air, and roared ferociously. Wouldn't killing him be letting him off too easily? Don't worry, I'll make him suffer a fate worse than death. The living fossil of the Ting clan snorted coldly. Let me try first. A young man stood out. He was also a genius of the Teng clan. His face was originally filled with fear, but when he saw that the other party was captured, a sinister smile appeared on his face. In the next moment, he raised his hand and shot out countless lightning bolts that struck Lin Xian's body. Instantly, energy exploded, and a sea of lightning engulfed the area in front of him. Would he be killed? Don't worry, with the living fossil of the Teng clan, that brat would definitely not die. However, he would inevitably be tortured for a while. It would probably be difficult for him to escape for the rest of his life. He asked for it. How dare he kill so many geniuses and offend so many clans? He'll definitely die. The people around them shouted coldly. The people from the governor's residence also flashed and prepared to join in the torture. On the other hand, the people from the Tai dynasty said, General, should we snatch him? General Xianying narrowed his eyes. Don't panic, that brat won't die for the time being. Let these people vent their anger first. When they're half dead, we'll ask for him. Good idea, but I can't help but want to try. On the Tai dynasty's side, many people also rushed over. They also wanted to torture the other party. On the other battlefield, the dark red divine dragon was surrounded by countless figures and engaged in an intense battle. An old man sneered. Why are you still struggling? Your companions have already been captured. I advise you to surrender obediently and join the Teng clan. The Teng clan can let you be our guardian beast. Otherwise, you'll only end up dead. Yes, surrender to the governor's residence and we'll spare your life. Follow the Tai dynasty and you'll become an invincible demon king. However, if you dare to go against us, you'll end up like that brat. A fate worse than death. Cold shouts were heard. Tsk. The dark red divine dragon sneered in disdain at this threat. He did not believe that Lin Xian had really been captured. One had to know that Lin Xian had so many trump cards that it was definitely beyond everyone's expectations. Just you wait, these people will soon regret it. Therefore, in the next moment, the dark red divine dragon sneered. What, you still want to threaten me? I advise you to kneel down obediently and become my human pets. If you perform well, I'll reward you with 1 or 2 great abilities of dragons and let you soar. Otherwise, I'll turn you into barbecue now. You're courting death. Hearing this, the surrounding powerhouses and mighty figures all shouted angrily and intensified their attacks. However, the dark red divine dragon had many array formations, and the dark red divine dragon itself was extremely terrifying. Therefore, for a moment, no one could do anything. At this moment, on the other side, the sea of lightning slowly disappeared where Lin Xian was. Because Lin Xian was tied up in chains and hung in mid-air, the Teng clan, Tai dynasty, the governor's residence, and the surrounding big clans all rushed over. They attacked as if they had gone crazy. All kinds of fireballs, lightning and torrential rain. saber lights and sword shadows. In short, they used everything they could to attack the front. In an instant, the void where Lin Xian was directly shattered. Terrifying cracks spread in all directions. Seeing this scene, many people stopped attacking and revealed ferocious smiles. They wanted to see how half-dead Lin Xian was. Therefore they waited patiently. The light in front finally dissipated and gradually revealed a figure. However, in the next moment, these people were all stunned as if they had been petrified. Even the living fossil elder from the Tang clan's pupils shrank. Chapter 2343. Even the living fossil elder from the Tang family narrowed his eyes. In the distance, General Xianying and the others frowned. This was because the scene in front of them was different from what they had imagined. The other party wasn't half dead at all. He wasn't even injured at all. That's right, he wasn't injured. They rubbed their eyes hard. When they looked again, many people's eyes were bursting with light as if they wanted to pierce through the void. However, they realized that the scene in front of them was really happening. Lin Xian was still bound by the chains, but he wasn't injured at all. Those terrifying attacks didn't cause any harm to him at all. Damn it, how is this possible? No, this can't be real. I must have been hit by an illusion. Many people slapped themselves crazily trying to break free from the illusion. However, all their actions were in vain. No matter how hard they tried, they realized that Lin Xian wasn't injured at all. Damn it, I don't believe it. These people roared crazily and attacked again. Terrifying energy surged out, completely exploding the area in front of them. A black hole spread out in all directions as if it wanted to devour everything. Previously, they were still worried and didn't dare to use their full strength. However, seeing this scene, they were really crazy. They couldn't care less anymore and attacked crazily. Boom, boom, boom. The terrifying explosion lasted for a long time before it slowly dissipated. The light that filled the sky disappeared and everyone looked again. Among them, many people comforted themselves. This time, the other party should be dead for sure. That's for sure. Not even a speck of dust will be left. Such a terrifying attack. With so many experts working together, I'm afraid even an almighty won't be able to block it. Who asked this kid to be so pretentious? Now he won't even have a corpse left. Cold laughter rang out as they looked ahead. However, very quickly they were all stunned by what they saw. The smile on their faces froze and deep fear appeared in their eyes. This was because they realized that it was the same as the previous scene. Lin Xian wasn't injured at all. No. How is this possible? How can this be? These people were crazy. They kept screaming, grabbing their hair, and their faces were full of fear. Although they were powerful King Almighties, they couldn't help but tremble at this moment. This scene was simply too bizarre. Even peerless Almighties wouldn't be able to withstand their combined attacks. And now the other party was bound. How did the other party block it? They could not understand. How could they know that Lin Xian had summoned the great dragon sword spirit in an instant? The terrifying sword chi destroyed all the attacks. Although these people were strong and their hands were terrifying, they were not a threat to him. Damn it! How could this be? On the other side, the almighty kings who were fighting with the dark red divine dragon were all horrified when they saw this scene. He looked as if he had seen a ghost. The dark red divine dragon sneered. What? Did you see that? Do you think that you can beat him? I advise all of you to obediently become my human pets and work like cattle or horses for this emperor. If I'm in a good mood, I can spare your lives. Otherwise you're really dead. Damn it, don't be so arrogant. This time we have brought countless experts. These people gritted their teeth and comforted themselves. Hearing this, the dark red divine dragon sneered. Bringing along the killing array that filled the sky, it once again clashed with the other party. On the other side there was complete silence. Countless cultivators were dumbfounded. Lin Xian, on the other hand, sneered as he watched the scene unfold before him. What? Are you very surprised? Are you very shocked? Do you think you can kill me after capturing me? Do you think you can hurt me with trash like you? What a joke. Lin Xian sneered disdainfully. His voice reached the ears of the surrounding people, causing their faces to turn even paler. Clang. Crack. At this moment, another change occurred in front of them. Everyone's scalps went numb. Lin Xian waved his hands, and the chains that bound him directly collapsed. A series of sounds rang out, and all the chains shattered and scattered on the ground. Damn it, how could this be? This time, even the living fossil of the Tang family could not remain calm. These chains could trap a peerless almighty. How did the other party escape? He could not understand. Moreover, with his experience and strength, he could see that although the other party did not have that terrifying treasure sword, The other party's sword chi was not weak. However, his opponent's sword aura did not weaken at all. Instead, it became even sharper. How could this be? Even if the other party was a swordsman without a weapon, his attack power should be greatly reduced. But now the other party's power was getting stronger and stronger. This was beyond his understanding. There must be other secrets on this kid's body. The living fossil of the Teng family instantly thought of this possibility. He guessed correctly. However, he did not know what secrets the other party had. He decided that he must capture the other party and carefully study him. The other party was too mysterious. If he could obtain the other party's secrets, his stagnant cultivation might be able to reach a higher level. Thinking of this, a shocking light appeared in his eyes. This kid is somewhat interesting. This old man has lived for thousands of years, and this is the first time I have met such an interesting young man. You are worthy of my full strength. Old man, don't act like you're some big shot. Your life and chi are about to disappear and you still dare to fight with me? Lin Xian looked forward and snorted disdainfully. How dare you be so rude to the living fossil of the Teng family? A few reckless youths of the Teng family rushed forward and roared crazily. In their opinion, with the living fossil of the elder, they were very safe. However, in the next moment they screamed and flew backward. Lin Xian slapped the three youths and sent them flying. The three youths' bones were broken, and their internal organs were also ruptured. The three martial artists were directly turned into 3 piles of meat paste and fell to the ground. Seeing this scene, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air, not daring to speak carelessly anymore. The living fossil of the elder's face was completely gloomy. He could not tolerate the fact that the other party was so unscrupulous and killed the Teng family's disciples. Moreover, the other party's contemptuous attitude made him even more crazy. He had not felt this for thousands of years. Therefore he was really angry. Kid, you don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. I will make you pay a painful price. The living fossil of the Teng family shouted coldly and then waved the snake-headed walking stick in his hand. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. 3 illusory images of flying snakes flew out from the walking stick. Each of them was 1,000 meters long. They coiled around each other and formed a powerful attack that charged forward. The 3 illusory images of flying snakes were too terrifying. They seemed real and the scales on them were lifelike like godly armors. Wherever they passed, the void was shattered. On top of that, the 3 flying snakes kept roaring, shattering the 9 heavens and causing the chi and blood in one's body to surge. They're just flying snakes. They're not even comparable to horned dragons. How dare they be impudent in front of me? Lin Xian sneered in disdain. He reached out his hand and performed a lost technique. Chapter 2344. A terrifying giant hand that covered the sky rushed down from the sky. It was like a dark cloud of demonic light. It was terrifying. How foolish. Elder living fossil sneered at the sight. This was no ordinary vine serpent phantom. Under the enhancement of his control, this soaring serpent phantom was extremely terrifying. As expected, when the 3 soaring serpent phantoms approached Lin Xian's green dragon palm, one of the soaring serpent phantoms suddenly opened its mouth and spat out a huge fireball into the sky. Boom! The terrifying heat wave shattered the void. All the martial artists who were watching the battle retreated frantically. They felt their bodies burning as though they were on fire. How terrifying! As expected, the combat power of a living fossil is beyond our imagination. Many of the martial artists were shocked at the sight. Not only that, but the second and third heads also spat out storms and lightning. Terrifying energy bombarded the void, trying to tear apart the terrifying dragon-catching hand. Lin Xian snorted. The great dragon sword soul in his body circulated, causing the green dragon palm to become even more dazzling. It was as though a pair of God's palms were slamming down from the heavens. Boom, 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 boom. In the next moment, these energies collided with each other, creating a deafening sound. The energy swept out in all directions like raging waves crashing against the shore. Dazzling light exploded in the sky. The violent energy gushed out like a vast ocean. Soon the crowd screamed. Elder living fossil's pupils shrank. He realized that the attack of the 3 soaring serpent phantoms had been shattered by the green dragon palm. Not only that, the terrifying palm continued to grab the 3 soaring serpents. If the 3 soaring serpents were caught, they would not be able to fight back. When the martial artists saw this, they screamed in horror. Damn it, how could this brat's strength be so strong? Could it be that he could fight against the living fossil elder? Everyone was going crazy. Elder living fossil snorted. In the next moment, the walking stick in his hand danced quickly, drawing a strange arc in the air. Mysterious runes flickered in the surroundings. Bus. Following this movement, the three soaring serpent phantoms changed again. Bus. They moved their bodies quickly and whipped their huge tails forward as if they were going to wipe out an army. The void shattered in an instant, and Lin Xian felt an incomparably terrifying and heavy pressure. So valiant. He was worthy of being called a living fossil. Lin Xian was also surprised, but he wasn't too afraid. The Azure Dragon's large hand quickly waved and grabbed the three snake tails. Then he swung them forcefully. Boom, boom. Three illusions of flying serpents, each of which was 1,000 feet long, were flung out, dancing in the air. Then it smashed into the ground. An earth-shattering sound rang out, reverberating all around. The earth split open in an instant and dust filled the air. The three-headed soaring serpent was smashed into the ground. This scene caused everyone's scalp to go numb, especially the warriors of the Teng clan. Their faces were filled with terror. In the distance, General Xianing also frowned. He was a bit impatient. He wanted to send a great army over to kill them together. But very quickly, his lips curled into a smile. This was because he noticed that the three-headed soaring serpents were still there. They were attacked, but they didn't disappear. He figured that the living fossil probably had other tricks up his sleeve. Alright, I'll let the Teng clan capture them. After that, we'll ask for them. This way we can capture them and preserve our strength. Therefore, General Xianing didn't send any powerhouses out. When the others noticed this, they sighed a breath of relief. Sure enough, an attack from a living fossil couldn't be broken so easily. Young fella, this is just the beginning. I'll let you know how powerful I am. The living fossil elder said coldly. He waved the walking stick in his hand crazily, and terrifying runes danced in the sky. Terrifying energy was channeled into the flying serpents, and three of them charged out from the ground. Although their tails were still being grabbed by the giant hand, the three-headed soaring serpents roared angrily. At this moment, the three-headed soaring serpents seemed to have come back to life. Moreover, a single horn grew out of their foreheads. Claws and scales also appeared on their bodies and they became more sturdy. What's this? What happened? They were shocked. An elder exclaimed, Heavens, are they transforming into dragons this time? Soaring serpents transforming into dragons. Just thinking about it was shocking. The living fossil elder's methods were indeed terrifying. In front of them, the three flying serpents became ferocious. A single horn grew out of their foreheads and sharp claws grew out of their abdomens. Not only that, but purple wings also appeared on their backs. As they flapped, there was a strong demonic wind. Their power was much stronger than before. Young fella, although the Soaring Serpent clan is a half-demon clan, sacred blood flows in our bodies. Our ancestors were related to dragons. Do you think you can contend against us? The living fossil elder shouted coldly, his eyes filled with pride. In the distance, Lin Xian was disdainful. Related to dragons? You're too shameless. The soaring serpents can't even be considered horned dragons, so how dare you claim to be related to dragons? What a joke. Let me show you what a real dragon is. Lin Xian's sonorous voice resounded through heaven and earth. Hearing Lin Xian's words, these people didn't believe him at first. He knows dragons very well? What a joke. The Soaring Serpent clan has the bloodline that's close to dragons. How dare a young fella say that he knows dragons better than us? What a joke. A look of disdain appeared in the living fossil elder's eyes, but in the next moment, he was stunned. In fact, his eyes were filled with shock. This was because a huge sword soared from Lin Xian's body. Then it rolled in the air and turned into a green dragon, roaring in all directions. These green dragons were 300 meters long and looked very mighty. Lightning surrounded their dragon horns. The dragon's scales were lifelike and flickered with incomparable light. Their huge bodies were filled with auspicious clouds. Their 5 claws waved gently, instantly tearing the void apart. A dragon's roar shook heaven and earth. The terrifying sound pierced through the 9 heavens, causing everyone's expression to change. In particular, the martial artists of the Teng clan were all lying on the ground with faces full of horror. They felt a terrifying pressure suppressing their bloodline. Dragon. It's really a dragon. The living fossil elder of the Teng clan was also shocked. He didn't expect the giant dragon's shadow to be so real. Even the dragon's might made him tremble unconsciously. Roar, roar, roar. As soon as Lin Xian's dragon shadow appeared, the 3-headed soaring serpents below also kept roaring, their faces full of uneasiness. Obviously, they felt a huge threat and a strong sense of suppression. Chapter 23:45. The dragon and the three serpents fought, and terrifying energy surged in all directions. A shocking light surged and the entire sky trembled. Heavy rain fell from the sky, strong winds swept, thunder rumbled and lightning flashed. All kinds of terrifying scenes appeared as if the world was about to be destroyed. The martial artists on the surrounding spiritual boats and warships trembled when they saw this, and they kept retreating. General Xianying and the others frowned. They did not expect the dragon that Lin Xian summoned to be so terrifying. It did not feel like an illusion at all. It was a real divine beast. Boom, boom, boom. After a fierce battle, the three flying serpents wailed and split apart, turning into spiritual qi and dissipating. What? The flying serpents were killed. Everyone exclaimed. The Ting family's living fossil elder had a ghastly expression on his face. He was originally full of confidence and even looked down on the other party's divine ability. Now he was the one who was at a disadvantage. He, a living fossil, was suppressed by a young fellow. Old man, I told you you can't compare divine abilities. Lin Xian stood on the divine dragon and looked down at the elder. He waved his hand, and the illusory true dragon under his feet charged forward again. This time his target was the living fossil elder. Boom. The illusory dragon flew quickly in the sky, making rumbling sounds. With thunderclouds in the sky, it arrived above the spiritual boat in an instant. With a furious roar, the illusory giant dragon opened its bloody mouth and spat out black flames that surged downward. This was hellfire, and it instantly surged downward. Soon it arrived above the spiritual boat. If the flames fell, the entire spiritual boat and the thousands of martial artists on it would probably be killed. The Ting family's martial artists were frightened. They retreated frantically and left the spiritual boat. On the other hand, the living fossil elder's face was cold as he looked up at the sky. Subsequently, he stretched out his old palm and slapped in front of him. Although his palm was old, it emitted a terrifying aura. It was like an immemorial mountain that rampaged in the sky and shattered the void. Boom. The palm shattered the hellfire that filled the sky, forming a terrifying crack in the void. A huge black hole appeared in the sky and all the hellfire was sucked in. Lin Xian snorted coldly when he saw that his opponent had broken through the hellfire so quickly. In the next moment, he continued to control the terrifying true dragon above him. Once again it spat out sea god ice that filled the sky. Boundless power of frost spread out in all directions, freezing everything in the area. Boom, boom, ka. The huge palm was also frozen in the sky. Then it shattered into pieces and exploded. The living fossil elder retracted his palm, his expression gloomy. Although he had broken his opponent's divine ability, his opponent's second divine ability had also broken his palm. He found it hard to believe. His eyes were cold and gloomy. As his palms moved, the ground beneath him cracked open. Countless rocks tumbled and quickly assembled in the sky, forming a huge rock sword that was thousands of meters long. He grabbed it with his withered hand and slashed it forward. This scene was too terrifying. It was as if the living rock had grabbed the entire earth. The stone sword was formed from the essence of the earth. It was extremely heavy. Although it was only 1,000 meters long, it was as if the entire earth was being rotated. The void instantly shattered, and the ice in the sky cracked open. However, although the sea god ice cracked, the power of ice and fire quickly emerged again. The two powers merged perfectly, forming an even more terrifying shock wave. The fire spark stone elder wielded the huge rock, carrying the endless power of earth, to fight. After 30 fierce collisions in the sky, countless cracks appeared and countless lightning bolts fell. Then the two disappeared in the void at the same time. Damn it, this kid is too terrifying. He was actually able to fight evenly with an elder who was at the level of a cremation stone master. The surrounding people were extremely shocked. However, some people's expressions were even more unsightly. That's not right. The huge dragon in the sky is still there. If this continues, is this kid going to suppress the fire spark stone? Everyone swallowed their saliva. As for the living fossil elder, his expression was gloomy. Since when could he be suppressed by a kid in his 20s? More importantly, he didn't even use his full strength. This was what he was relying on. In the next moment he said coldly, "Kid, I have to admit that you're very strong. Even I am surprised. Unfortunately, provoking the Ting family will be your biggest mistake. Your illusory giant dragon is very real and very powerful. However, it's only an illusory figure. In front of a real demon king, it won't be able to withstand a single blow." What did he mean? What did he mean? The surrounding King Almighties looked at each other. Could it be that the Tang family brought a peerless demon king? Old man, show me what you're capable of. Lin Xian was fearless. You'll see. The living fossil elder snorted coldly. His body suddenly released a terrifying aura, and his robe shook rapidly. A powerful force surged from his body. Subsequently, the living fossil elder bit his finger and quickly waved it in the sky. The blood danced with his hand and turned into mysterious runes one after another. Accompanied by endless energy, they formed a huge blood-colored pattern. If one looked at it from afar, they would see that the entire pattern was a snake's head. It was incomparably ferocious and lifelike. The blood-colored pattern was huge, but with the speed of a living fossil, it was completed in almost a second. In an instant, the terrifying blood-colored pattern transformed and emitted a demonic aura in the sky. What's going on? What kind of ability is this? Many people looked at this scene with fear on their faces. This was because they felt an uneasiness in their hearts. Psychic. Accompanied by the appearance of the blood-colored runes, the living fossil elder's cold voice was also heard. Following that, the huge blood-colored runes suddenly emitted an incomparably bright light that covered the entire sky. Following that, a huge creature quickly crawled out of the blood-colored runes. Boom, boom, boom. The huge creature appeared, and a terrifying demonic aura spread in all directions. Accompanying it was a shocking roar. All of this was shocking. What's this? Everyone was dumbfounded when they saw this scene. Lin Xian also frowned because a terrifying huge snake crawled out of the blood-colored pattern in front of him. This huge snake was the same as the soaring serpent from before. It had a pair of wings on its back, a single horn on its head, and purple scales all over its body. As soon as it appeared, it carried a strong demonic wind. It's the soaring serpent. Everyone exclaimed. Could it be another illusory figure? No, that's not right. This aura is even more terrifying than the previous 3 illusory figures combined. Many people were shocked. However, General Xianing exclaimed. It's not an illusory figure. It's a demon king, a real demon king. What? It's a real demon king. Everyone was stunned. They did not expect that the thing in front of them was a real demon king. Chapter 2346. Lin Xian also frowned. He could naturally feel the monstrous aura emanating from the other party. Unlike the cold illusion, this was definitely a real demon king with flesh and blood. Boom. As soon as the soaring serpent appeared, it spread its purple wings and charged over with powerful purple lightning. Soon, it tore the dragon illusion into pieces. Whoosh. Seeing this scene, the Tang family warriors cheered. The living fossil also snorted. Kid, did you see that? This is my true strength. Although your illusions are powerful, in front of a real peerless demon king, they can't even withstand a single blow. Lin Xian frowned. Countless sword lights rose from his body and blocked the terrifying demonic wind. He had to admit that this living fossil was really terrifying. He could actually summon such a terrifying demon king. However, so what? Comparing demonic beasts? He was not afraid of the other party. Therefore, in the next moment, the corners of his mouth curled up into a sneer. You're right. A real demon king is the most powerful. However, your soaring serpent is only a demonic snake. How can it be compared to real dragons? What does this kid mean? What is he talking about? Could it be that he also wants to summon real demonic beasts? Does he want to summon dragons? Heavens! These people were all stupefied. The living fossil old man also snorted coldly. Kid, don't try to be mysterious. Do you really think you can summon one? He did not believe it at all. However, Lin Xian sneered. Is there a need to summon one? There is one right now. As he spoke, he pointed into the distance. Everyone's gaze followed Lin Xian's finger. Then they understood. Indeed, there was a dark red dragon fighting in front of them. It was fighting against hundreds of almighty kings alone and was having a great time. This was definitely a real demon king. Moreover, it seemed that the other party was more similar to dragons than the soaring serpent. In fact, they did not know that this was a part of the characteristics of dragons hidden by the dark red dragon. For example, he had hidden the dragon horn in one of the 5 claws. If he really revealed the appearance of a 5-clawed true dragon, those invincible kings would probably chase him all over the world. However, although he had hidden his dragon horn and 5th dragon claw, he had not hidden his strength and divine ability. Ruffian dragon, I'll leave this to you. Lin Xian said in a clear voice. On the other side, Ruffian Arowana was fighting with hundreds of people. The array formation around him flickered. When he heard Lin Xian's voice, he turned around. In fact, when the soaring serpent appeared, he had already sensed it. It was impossible for him not to know about such a terrifying demonic bloodline. Therefore, when it heard Lin Xian's call, it swung its tail and sent dozens of people flying. Then it quickly rushed over. "Let's go." Seeing the dark red divine dragon leave, the surrounding King Almighties also flew forward. They didn't attack again. Instead, they formed an encirclement and watched from afar. In front of Lin Xian, Teng Shi looked down at Lin Xian with disdain after destroying the dragon's shadow. However, when the dark red divine dragon arrived, his gaze changed. Its huge eyes were filled with shock. It shifted its gaze from Lin Xian to the dark red divine dragon. Seeing that the other party dared to look at it, the dark red divine dragon let out a furious roar that shook the 9 heavens. Instantly, everyone fell to the ground. The purple-winged soaring serpent trembled and subconsciously took 2 steps back. It had no choice. It was a terrifying demon king with the bloodline of an ancient demonic beast. However, in front of a real divine dragon, it was nothing. If it wasn't for its strength, it would have been crushed to the ground long ago. "Little worm, do you think you can show off in front of me just because you have wings?" Seeing that the other party was scared away, the dark red divine dragon snorted in disdain. The surrounding people's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. In particular, the Teng clan's martial artists were even more shocked. The Teng clan's living fossils' eyelids were twitching. Heavens, what's going on? That peerless demon king, the terrifying purple-winged soaring serpent, was scared away? They did not dare to imagine. What's so difficult about this long red dragon in front of us? Is it really a horned dragon? The Teng clan's living fossils' face darkened. The purple-winged soaring serpent even roared. It felt insulted. Therefore, in the next moment, it roared and quickly charged over. The purple-winged soaring serpent was terrifying. Just its demonic wind alone had sent many people flying. One could imagine that even an almighty being would not be able to withstand a head-on hit. "Come on, I'm not afraid of you." The dark red divine dragon scoffed coldly. "I'll eat your flesh and drink your blood. Who knows, my strength might even break through." The dark red divine dragon let out a strange cry, swung its tail and charged over. As the 2 humongous creatures exchanged blows, terrifying cracks spread. Everyone frantically retreated. There was nothing they could do. The 2 demonic beasts were too terrifying. A casual attack from them was not something these people could contend against. Although they had retreated, their gazes were firmly fixed on the front. Many of them were even staring at Lin Xian. Lin Xian stopped the living fossil elder and said coldly, "Old man, it's time to get rid of you. Kid, you're courting death." The living fossil elder was enraged. He had originally summoned the vine serpent to deal with the kid in front of him. However, he did not expect the other party to have an existence similar to a WRM. As a result, his vine serpent could not kill the other party at all. It seemed that he had to do it himself. However, it did not matter. At most, he would just consume some energy. He wanted to kill the other party with his own hands. Therefore, in the next moment, the living fossil elder snorted coldly. His voice was like thunder from the 9 heavens, causing the space in the sky to crack. It was horrifying. Buzz. Elder Shur reached out a palm and grabbed in front of him. As soon as his palm reached out, it enlarged infinitely and covered the entire sky. In that palm, there was a sun and a moon revolving around it as if it was the entire universe. Everyone was shocked. What kind of divine ability is that? It's too terrifying. Sun Moon Divine Palm. That was a legendary palm technique that could evolve the sun and moon. It was extremely terrifying. They did not expect the living fossil elder to be so terrifying. Many people were terrified. Boom. In the sky, the Sun Moon Divine Palm slapped over and instantly enveloped Lin Xian. A terrifying aura descended and could crush the 9 heavens. Lin Xian naturally felt the danger. He snorted coldly and sword light surrounded his body like a sword god. The terrifying sword light split the 9 heavens and blocked the descending light. Then Lin Xian snorted coldly and waved his palm. The ancient dragon abyss sword that was wrapped in the Teng Snake King's skin began to tremble rapidly and wanted to break out of the body. Oh no! The kid is going to use the sword. Seeing this scene, the surrounding people exclaimed while the living fossil elder snorted coldly. You don't have a chance. Chapter 2347. Crack, crack, crack. The surrounding space was torn apart in an instant. Heaven and earth trembled as countless black holes appeared in the surroundings. Lin Xian was completely wrapped up by the palm. The sun and moon were in the sky. The terrifying power of the surrounding palm caused the void to explode. The bones in Lin Xian's body also made cracking sounds. If the palm was completely closed, no one would be able to withstand the pressure. Great, this kid is definitely dead. Everyone cheered excitedly. It seemed that with the help of the living fossil elder, there was no need for them to fight anymore. Boom, boom, boom. As expected, Lin Xian seemed to have been bound. Only the terrifying sword light surrounded his body. Around him there were pitch-black cracks in the space. The terrifying sun-moon divine palm quickly enveloped him and then completely merged. This is great. That kid will definitely die. Seeing this scene, everyone burst into laughter. The living fossil elder also sneered. Boom, boom, boom. But soon he frowned. The laughter of the surrounding people also stopped. That was because in front of them, there was a low sound coming from the huge palm. It was like thunder causing their blood to boil. In front of them there was an intense collision from the huge palm. The 5 fingers quickly scattered as if they were about to be blasted apart. Damn it! How could it be? Could it be that the kid is not dead? Oh heavens! He's attacking. Is he trying to blast the sun-moon divine palm away? However, the sun-moon divine palm was indeed terrifying. In the palm, there was a sun and a moon rotating, releasing a terrifying power that suppressed everything. Gradually the palm closed again. Phew. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief. This time that kid should not be able to cause any trouble. However, just as they finished speaking, the sun-moon divine palm in front of them suddenly opened up. A huge force directly pushed the entire palm away. A figure floated in the palm, surrounded by sword light, like a sword god. It was extremely terrifying. Lin Xian had countless sword chi on his body. He slashed open the terrifying sun-moon divine palm and escaped from it. Damn it, that kid can break the sun-moon divine palm. How did he do it? Everyone was extremely shocked. The living fossil elder's face was also gloomy. In the next moment he snorted coldly, and the sun-moon divine palm suddenly slammed down, pinning Lin Xian underneath. Boom, boom. The divine palm descended mercilessly as if to suppress him. At this moment, the sun-moon divine palm seemed to have transformed into a universe as it descended mercilessly. Lin Xian's sword aura instantly dimmed under the pressure, as if it would shatter at any moment. Lin Xian's body continued to descend. It looked like he was about to be suppressed. Get lost. With a furious roar, Lin Xian's sword chi erupted once again, blocking the terrifying sun-moon divine palm. At the same time, he quickly communicated with the ancient dragon abyss sword above him. The dragon sword struggles grew more and more intense, causing the heavens and earth to tremble. The living fossil elder angrily roared. Then he stretched out a palm and invisible energy gushed out. Suddenly, the vine snake king's skin in the sky emitted purple runes as if to suppress everything. However, he still underestimated the ancient dragon abyss sword. A loud dragon roar and sword chime could be heard. Then the ancient dragon abyss sword instantly broke through the vine snake king's skin and flew down quickly. What? It actually broke through. Isn't this sword a little too terrifying? The surrounding people were shocked. In the blink of an eye, the ancient dragon abyss sword had already arrived above the sun-moon divine palm and slashed down fiercely. Poof! The sun-moon divine palm shook violently. The lights in the sky trembled and the sun, moon and stars in the palm shattered. A scream could be heard. The living fossil elder retracted his palm. Blood flowed and dyed the void red. The living fossil elder was injured. The surrounding people's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. The martial artists of the Ting family were even more shocked. That was their living fossil elder and he was extremely terrifying. He could suppress peerless powerhouses. However, at this moment his arm was injured by a young man. How was that possible? They felt like they were in a dream. Whoosh. On the other side, the ancient dragon abyss sword flew back to Lin Xian's hand. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He stepped forward and pointed his sword forward. Old man, today is the day you die. Boom. He waved the ancient sword and performed the chaotic heaven destroyer sword technique. The 4 ultimate moves flew forward. Demon Seal. Battle Song. Sky Shattering. Chaotic Upheaval. Boom. Boom. The spirit boat under the living fossil elder was instantly split in half and fell from the sky. Many martial artists on it were split open and turned into a bloody mist. He killed thousands of powerhouses with a single sword strike. That technique was too terrifying. The living fossil floated in the void with a terrifying gaze. Suddenly he opened his mouth and a terrifying vine snake flew out from his mouth. It bared its fangs and brandished its claws as it charged forward. Lin Xian stretched out his left hand. His palm was like a dragon's claw. Sword chi surrounded the sky and directly grabbed the vine snake. The surrounding 50,000 miles was filled with violent energy. No one dared to approach. Floating light. At this moment, Lin Xian activated the heavenly secret divine eyes. Immediately, the living fossil fell into the illusion. Then he screamed in pain. Hearing this, the people who were tens of thousands of miles away exclaimed in shock. Damn it, what happened? On the spirit boat, General Xian Ying's face darkened. Damn it, let's attack together. He realized that the situation had changed. In an instant, all the experts lit up and quickly charged over. However, when they approached the center, their eyelids twitched wildly and their scalps went numb. Because in front of them, half of the living fossil elder's body was torn open. His internal organs and deep white bones could be seen. At this moment he was hiding in the distance and panting non-stop. He looked like he was on his last breath. Damn it, what happened? How did the living fossil elder get seriously injured in such a short period of time? The powerhouses of Tengjia were even more in disbelief. They quickly flew over. Some of the other people clenched the sabers and swords in their hands as if they were facing a great enemy. They pushed the power in their bodies to the limit. As for the living fossil elder, he took out 2 purple pills and quickly swallowed them. At the same time he said weakly, "Be careful, that kid knows how to use illusions." Illusions. Hearing that, everyone's expression changed. A few powerhouses hurriedly took out soul defense artifacts and carried them on their bodies. Soul attacks were impossible to guard against. Didn't they see that the living fossil elder was at a disadvantage? They did not dare to be careless. After these people took soul defense, they quickly charged over. Lin Xian also roared angrily. The great dragon sword soul was activated to the limit, and his combat strength increased crazily. Buzz. The dragon sword spirit realm flew out and transformed into a true dragon that kept swinging its tail. He also used the chaotic heaven destroyer sword and charged forward. In an instant, a terrifying battle broke out. Chapter 23:48. The people who came this time were not ordinary people. They were all elites. Even a peerless king would not be able to resist them if they attacked together. But now they were being killed until they screamed in pain. Lin Xian waved his ancient sword. Every time the sword fell, a martial artist would fall. Every time the green dragon formed by the dragon sword realm swung its tail, many martial artists would be sent flying. Some of the weaker ones were even turned into blood mist. Not only that, but the goddess of ice also appeared on Lin Xian's body. The terrifying ice wings flapped, and dozens of kings were frozen in the void. Hellfire spread out and countless martial artists were wrapped in flames. They screamed in pain. In the end they were turned into ashes. Not good. He was too strong. The warriors of those families screamed crazily, wailing like ghosts and howling like wolves. The people from the Tai dynasty roared crazily. Attack, they must not let him escape. This time they had come with the conviction to kill the other party. How could they allow the other party to escape? Although the other party was strong, they had many people this time. Even if they had to fight, they had to kill him. Boom, boom, boom. The martial artists from the Tai dynasty quickly set up a formation. Not only that, the martial artists from the Ting family and the Castellan mansion also set up a terrifying killing formation. They had no choice but to join forces. Otherwise, they would not be able to do anything to the other party. In the sky, formations appeared one after another, emitting dazzling rays of light. They shrouded the entire heaven and earth, and a terrifying power pierced through the 9 heavens. The Castellan mansion set up the green lotus sword formation. 64 martial artists stood in 8 directions. Each of them held a green sword. Sword chi surrounded their bodies, forming a huge lotus flower that rotated in the sky. The Ting family set up the vine snake battle. 72 soaring snakes danced in the sky like divine rainbows, suppressing all directions. They kept moving, spitting out divine light that scattered in front of them. The martial artists from the Tai dynasty were even more impressive. Although they only sent 36 of them, they set up the famous 8 Desolation Blazing Fire formation. 8 Desolation Blazing Fire, burning everything. The 36 martial artists were all experts of the fire element. At this moment they joined forces to set up a peerless formation. They swore to refine Lin Xian. The terrifying formation appeared in the sky, covering the 9 heavens. The powerful aura made the people in the distance tremble. The dark red divine dragon also frowned. He roared, waved his tail and wanted to help. Brr. However, at that moment the purple-winged soaring snake blocked their path. The purple wings were like heavenly blades, constantly bombarding the air, so that the dark red divine dragon was unable to help. Although the purple-winged soaring snake couldn't compare to the dark red divine dragon in terms of bloodline power, its strength was still very formidable. Therefore, when the two were combined, they were evenly matched. Haha, little brat, go to hell. The people of the Tai dynasty were the first to attack. The 36 fire element powerhouses attacked together, forming a terrifying sea of fire between heaven and earth, burning fiercely. The Raging Inferno 8 Desolation Array was a famous array in ancient times. At this moment, when it was used, its power was terrifying beyond compare. To Lin To, a trace of blood appeared at the corner of his mouth. The bones in his body were almost broken, and the blood in his body was roiling. The 8 Desolation blazing fire was too terrifying. On the other side, the soaring snake formation was also activated. Dozens of soaring snakes danced in the air, as if they were real primordial monsters, emitting terrifying power. They directly crashed into the space where Lin Xian was. Countless sword screens appeared on Lin Xian's body to resist. Even so, he was still blasted back 20,000 miles. Just as he stopped, the Green Lotus sword formation of the City Lord's mansion was also activated. In the sky, countless sword chi surged, forming a huge green lotus that pressed down from the sky. The green lotus spun quickly, slashing out thousands of sword chi. Clang, clang, clang. The terrifying sword chi pierced through the entire space. Lin Xian was sent flying again. His injuries were even more serious. However, his eyes were extremely bright. The longevity incantation in his body was activated, quickly healing his injuries. At the same time, the great dragon sword soul kept roaring. Lin Xian's combat strength soared again. A sword chi armor appeared on his body, and the dragon sword realm floated above his head. Kid, you're no match for us at all. Kneel down obediently. The powerhouses of the Tai dynasty snorted. The other martial artists of the City Lord's mansion and the Ting family also sneered. Finally, they injured this kid. It was really not easy. However, when they thought about it, the other party would definitely not be able to resist their 3 killing formations. You want me to admit defeat? With just these 3 great killing formations, they were still far from enough. Lin Xian snorted coldly. He wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and the light in his eyes became even brighter. You're courting death. Since that's the case, don't blame us. Hearing the other party's words, the powerhouses of the Tai dynasty snorted and activated the 8 Desolation blazing fire formation again. Boom, boom. Terrifying flames raged out. The 36 fire element powerhouses were extremely powerful. In an instant, the sea of fire that filled the sky once again enveloped Lin Xian. Boom. Today I'll let you know what the real 8 Desolation blazing fire is. Lin Xian roared angrily, and the hellfire on his body burned fiercely. Then it quickly condensed and rolled behind him. Then it formed a black fire dragon. This black fire dragon was very ferocious, and what was even more strange was that it had 8 heads arranged in a row. It was very terrifying. 8 Desolation blazing dragon, burn for me. Boom, boom, boom. The 8 heads of the black fire dragon roared together, then opened their bloody mouths and spat out black flames that filled the sky. In an instant, it collided with the other party's flames. The 2 forces collided in the air. Damn it, be destroyed for me. On the opposite side, the 36 fire element powerhouses of the west roared together. On Lin Xian's side, the great dragon sword soul roared crazily. Boom, boom. In the end, the 2 flames exploded in the sky, forming a huge black hole that devoured the surroundings. The 36 fire element powerhouses kept retreating, vomiting large mouthfuls of blood. On the other side, Lin Xian also retreated a few thousand meters and his face was pale. What? He actually blocked the 8 Desolation blazing fire formation. A single person was able to block such a terrifying array formation. In the distance, those who were watching the battle went crazy. They were all martial artists from the other families. At this moment, under the power of the 3 killing formations, they could only hide in the distance and watch the battle. However, when they saw this scene, they all went crazy. Not only them, but the people of the Ting family and the City Lord's mansion were also stunned. They knew that they couldn't stay any longer and had to attack with all their might. Kid, go to hell. In the sky, 72 vine snakes danced, and the terrifying power shattered the void. On the other side, the terrifying green lotus sword chi slashed down, piercing through everything. The two killing formations once again enveloped Lin Xian. They were just vine snakes, how dare they compete with the giant dragons? Lin Xian's voice was sonorous, and the dragon sword domain above his head trembled rapidly. Then he drew out 81 giant dragons. These were 81 giant golden dragons, each of which was 1,000 meters long. Their huge bodies covered the sky and the golden scales on their bodies shone. Chapter 2349. Each of the 81 golden dragons was 1,000 meters long. Their huge bodies covered the sky, and the golden scales on their bodies shone brightly. They carried with them a terrifying force. Roar! Roar! They were formed by the great dragon sword soul, so they had the true might of a dragon. As soon as the 81 golden dragons appeared, they roared in the void. Buzz! They charged toward the 72 soaring serpents. Boom! 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 The 72 soaring serpents could not withstand it at all and exploded in the air, forming a mist that filled the sky. The 72 powerhouses of the Ting family also vomited blood and were sent flying. They smashed mountains and rivers and split open the void. The two killing formations were destroyed, and only the green lotus sword chi above their heads was left. You want to compete with me in sword technique? You're too inexperienced. Lin Xian snorted coldly. Ever since he started cultivating, he had been practicing the path of the sword. Moreover, he had the terrifying great dragon sword soul. How could these people surpass him in sword technique? In the next moment, 108,000 swords rushed out of his body and condensed in the sky, forming a terrifying giant sword that slashed down. Boom! Boom! The green lotus was instantly split open, and countless green sword chi flew out. The 36 sword experts also vomited blood at the same time. The long swords in their hands were broken in half. Horrifying. It was too horrifying. Everyone's eyes were filled with shock. They could not believe that a young man could resist 3 killing formations. It was too unbelievable. Next, it's my turn to attack. Lin Xian used the heavenly dragon's 8 steps and quickly charged over. His speed was too fast and had reached an extreme. In an instant, he arrived in front of the Sword Kings in the governor's residence. He kept waving the ancient dragon abyss sword in his hand. No. Those people's pupils constricted as they screamed crazily. However, in the next moment there was no sound. In the sky, 36 sword lights lit up, and then 36 heads flew into the sky. The terrifying corpses fell and blood sprayed all over the ground. He killed 36 sword path powerhouses with a single sword strike. This scene caused everyone to be alarmed. Especially the martial artists of the Tai dynasty and the Ting family, they retreated crazily. In the distance, more powerhouses came to support them. However, Lin Xian's demigods and semidevils was too fast. In the next moment he appeared in front of the people from the Tai dynasty. Behind him, the huge head of the 8 Desolation Fire Dragon kept roaring and spewing out black hellfire. The fire elemental almighties teaming up? Kill me? Let me have a taste of being burned by fire. The 8 fire dragon heads spat out flames that filled the sky, completely engulfing the 36 fire elemental mighty figures. Cries of agony rang out one after another. The bodies of these fire elemental powerhouses were filled with brilliant light as they tried to fight back. However, it was impossible to do so. In the end, they were burned to ashes and scattered in the air. Oh, damn it! How could he be so strong? Countless people exclaimed in disbelief. The reason for that was because his opponent's battle prowess was simply too terrifying. It made them all tremble. The members of the Ting family were even more terrified. They wanted to escape. The living fossils of the Ting clan also wanted to attack, but Lin Xian turned his head and stared at them. This time he did not use his movement technique. Instead he extended his palm. He stretched out his palm and covered the world. The terrifying palm was vast and boundless, covering the entire sky. Not only that, but the finger was like a divine pillar that reached the sky. The sun, moon, and stars revolved around it, emitting a mysterious aura. It was as if a real universe was pressing down from the sky. Sun Moon Divine Palm. God, how could he know the Tang clan's divine ability? The members of the Tang clan went crazy. They were all so scared that they almost peed their pants. The living fossil of the Tang clan was even more stunned. He could not understand at all why the other party knew his ultimate move. Moreover, the power seemed to be even more terrifying than his. Damn it, who is this brat? Who is he? He roared crazily. In the next moment, the living fossil also used the Sun Moon Divine Palm to fight back. In the sky, the 2 Sun Moon Divine Palms collided, forming a terrifying force that could destroy the universe. It directly killed the 72 powerhouses of the Teng clan. Seeing this scene, Lin Xian snorted coldly and withdrew his palm. The living fossil's expression was extremely ugly. He originally wanted to save people, but he did not expect that not a single one of them would succeed. 72 elite powerhouses were directly killed in front of him. Damn brat, I want you to die. The living fossil of the Teng clan roared at the sky. His white hair danced wildly and he looked extremely demonic. With just you? Your chi and blood have dried up and you're about to die. You're no match for me. Lin Xian snorted coldly and looked down. Then, his gaze pierced through the layers of light and the endless void and stared at a figure on the spirit ship in the distance. Xianying, get over here and die. Xianying, that's right, it's him. He started from the Tai dynasty and chased them all the way to the Zhili dynasty. Throughout the entire process, the other party was leading the team. How could Lin Xian not be angry? Therefore, he decided that no matter what, he had to kill the other party. Seeing this scene, everyone was bewildered. However, General Xianying snorted coldly. You want to fight with me with just you? You're overestimating yourself. There was a hint of disdain in his eyes. How could a brat be qualified to make him attack? On the other side, the living fossil of the Teng clan was so angry that he vomited blood. He was actually despised by a brat. This was intolerable. In the next moment, he roared angrily and quickly charged over. He wanted to use the other party's blood to defend his dignity. A purple light flew out, lit up from the snake-headed walking stick and charged towards Lin Xian. Lin Xian flipped his hand, and a terrifying sword light directly shattered the sky. It drowned the purple light. Then he slashed out dozens of sword chi again and charged towards the living fossil. The living fossil elder had already recovered from his injuries after using the secret medicinal pills. However, his strength was still much weaker than before. When the others saw this scene, they frowned. Especially General Xianying. His face was gloomy and his gaze was cold. Damn it, this brat has been fighting for so long, why hasn't his strength weakened at all? Instead, he's getting stronger. How much spiritual power does he have in his body? The other powerhouses also noticed this. This was too shocking. Although the other party had the combat strength of a peerless mighty figure, his true cultivation base was not that of a peerless mighty figure. He was just an ordinary mighty figure. How could the other party's spiritual power storage be so much? Forget it, let's kill him together. A long night might cause trouble. General Xianying snorted and prepared to attack. On the other side, a woman in black also walked out of the governor's residence. She still had her elegance. At this moment she was holding a black long sword, and her body was filled with killing intent. She was a powerhouse from the governor's residence. She was a peerless mighty figure, Hong Xinyang. At this moment she also swayed her waist and walked out. Whoosh, whoosh. The two peerless powerhouses moved and charged forward. Boom. In front, Lin Xian and the living fossil were locked in a fierce battle. However, at this moment, Lin Xian suddenly frowned, and a strong sense of danger appeared in his eyes. Chapter 2350. Boom. Boom. In the next moment, the space where he was originally standing shattered. The terrifying power destroyed everything. The aftermath of this energy hit Lin Xian's body, causing him to continuously retreat. Damn it. Lin Xian frowned, his eyes cold. Because he discovered that there were two more figures in front of him. One was General Xianying, and the other was a woman in a black dress. The other party's aura was also very strong, reaching the level of a peerless almighty. 3 peerless almighties were actually attacking together. This made Lin Xian encounter the most dangerous moment in history. Let's work together. General Xianying held the halberd in his hand and stood in the void like a demon god. Hearing this, Hong Xinyang and the living fossil elder nodded. Among them, the living fossil snorted coldly, and a ferocious snake-head mark appeared on his head. Then scales appeared on his body. A terrifying power quickly recovered. Boom, 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 boom. Heaven and earth shook and thunder rumbled. Everyone looked over. Then they were extremely shocked. Even Lin Xian frowned because he discovered that the living fossil elder had undergone a shocking change. The other party's body was no longer short and withered. Instead, he straightened his back and became abnormally tall. His withered skin was also filled with luster. His old face became incomparably handsome. Not only that, his white hair also became incomparably black, like 3,000 waterfalls dancing wildly in the wind. An old man with one foot in the grave instantly turned into a young man with a heroic bearing. He looked extremely valiant. The muscles all over his body were filled with explosive power. The surrounding King Almighty sucked in a breath of cold air. If they did not see it with their own eyes, it would be difficult for them to imagine that the handsome young man in front of them was actually an old man. Moreover, he was an old man who had lived for more than 3,000 years. Wasn't this a little too terrifying? Rejuvenation. Lin Xian also frowned. He knew that the other party should have used some kind of forbidden power. It caused his body to temporarily reach a peak state. It seemed that the other party was going to go all out. Lin Xian's expression was very ugly. He could still fight against a living fossil. He was confident in fighting one-on-one against General Xianing. However, with 3 peerless experts attacking together, the pressure on him would increase exponentially. However, Lin Xian was not afraid at all. He took out a large amount of spirit herbs from the black earth and quickly swallowed them. Then he tossed 2 divine crystals into his domain and quickly absorbed them. The art of longevity circulated his cultivation to replenish the energy he had consumed. The 2 divine crystals instantly turned into energy and poured into his body, causing his aura to erupt once again, reaching its peak. This brat, what extravagant means. 2 divinity crystals and countless heavenly materials and earthly treasures had raised him to the peak of his combat strength in an instant. Heavens, he was so rich. After killing him, he must have a lot of treasures on him. The crowd in the distance discussed animatedly. General Xianing and the other 2 narrowed their eyes. The other party had actually recovered to his peak state in an instant. This was indeed beyond their expectations. But so what? With the 3 of them working together, even a dragon would have to crouch. They did not believe that the other party would be able to stir up any waves. Kid, do you have any last words? General Xianing looked forward. What? Do you think you can defeat me? Lin Xian snorted coldly. Although the situation was critical now, it was not fatal. One had to know that he had many trump cards in his hands, so he was not afraid at all. Nonsense. Do you think you have a chance to turn the tables? On the other side, Hong Xinyang also snorted in disdain. The living fossil elder sneered. Brat, I'll show you my true strength today. Buzz. As soon as he finished speaking, the living fossil elder of the Ting family took the initiative to attack. Purple light condensed, forming a terrifying light that surged forward. It was like a stormy sea. The power of this palm was even more terrifying than before. Obviously, after the living fossil elder turned into a young man's body, his strength and speed had increased greatly compared to before. It seemed that this was the other party's peak combat strength. Seeing the other party's attack, Lin Xian snorted coldly. He clenched his left fist, turned it into a black sun and blasted it forward. Boom. With a loud bang, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. A huge crack appeared in the terrifying space and spread in all directions. As for the almighty kings who were watching, they screamed and fell to the ground. Some of them even exploded into blood mist because they were too close. It could not be helped. This was a peerless attack and it was very terrifying. Those almighty kings could not withstand it at all. When the 2 of them attacked, the 2 palms collided in the air, and it was difficult to determine the winner. At this moment, General Xianing and Hong Xinyang made their move. The 2 of them would not just watch the battle. Instead, they were going to attack and kill the other party. Boom. The halberd danced in the air, turned into a sharp light, and descended from the sky. It was like a thunder trying to split Lin Xian apart. On the other side, Hong Xinyang waved her black longsword, forming a powerful killing intent. The terrifying sword light directly pierced through the void, stabbing towards Lin Xian's vital point. Both of them were peerless powerhouses. At this moment, the power of their attacks was very terrifying. Even though Lin Xian was strong, he still felt a strong sense of danger. He did not want to continue fighting. His body swayed and he dodged Hong Xinyang's sword chi. However, the halberd above his head smashed down like a mountain. Buzz. Lin Xian waved his hand and a blue shield flew out, blocking in front of him. Previously, he had killed countless powerful enemies and collected their storage rings. He had a lot of weapons in his hands. This blue shield was a top-grade Earth-rank artifact. Clang. The heavenly halberd collided with the blue shield, producing an earth-shattering sound. Countless spatial cracks spread and Lin Xian was pushed back by the huge force. The blue shield in front of him was also sent flying. Kit, you are not a match for us at all. General Xianing snorted, and then the 3 peerless powerhouses attacked again. Lin Xian fought against the 3 of them alone. The sky fell and the earth cracked and the sun and moon lost their light. The area within 100,000 miles was destroyed, and the sky was filled with light as if it was the end of the world. Boom. Boom. However, Lin Xian was at a disadvantage and the situation was very dangerous. It could not be helped. Although he was a young genius, he was still too young, only in his 20s. Among the three of them, one was an old monster who had lived for more than 3,000 years, and the other two were peerless powerhouses who had lived for more than 1,000 years. When the three of them joined forces, it could be said that it was very terrifying. Lin Xian was already very strong to be able to hold on until now. However, he was still injured. The blue shield was directly shattered into pieces, and he was severely injured. A few of his ribs were broken and he was sent flying while vomiting blood. Chapter 2351. How dare you attack the three of us? You're overestimating yourself. Hong Xinyang sneered. The powerhouses hundreds of thousands of miles away gasped when they saw this scene. It was too shocking. The three peerless powerhouses joining forces could suppress everything. That kid is definitely dead. That's right. Who asked him to be so arrogant? He's done for this time. Just you wait, we'll catch him. We'll let him taste a fate worse than death. Don't worry, he'll suffer a terrible fate. Cold laughter was heard one after another. Little Xian. On the other battlefield, the dark red dragon was also enraged when he saw this scene. He did not expect the three peerless powerhouses to attack together. He sensed danger. He had to help. So in the next moment he wanted to leave this place. However, the purple vine snake blocked his way. There was a hint of mockery in its cold eyes. You want to leave? You'll have to get past me first. However, you won't be able to get past me. The purple vine snake also spoke human language. Damn you, do you really think I won't dare to kill you? The dark red dragon was also angry. I didn't start a massacre because you have some bloodline with the dragons. However, you're courting death. In that case, don't blame me for starting a massacre. You want to kill me? How naive. The purple-winged snake sneered and turned its huge head. I admit that your bloodline power is very strong. However, my strength far surpasses yours. It's not certain who will kill who. At the end of its sentence, its huge eyes emitted a cold light. With your blood, perhaps my bloodline can evolve again. So, die obediently. The purple-winged snake actually had designs on the dark red dragon. Because he realized that the other party's bloodline power was purer than his. It was closer to the dragons. If he consumed this bloodline, he might be able to progress in the direction of the dragons. In the next moment, the purple wings flapped and formed two huge purple tornadoes that swept forward. Purple Demon Storm Die. The two purple tornadoes danced. Each of them was tens of thousands of feet tall and a few thousand meters in diameter. Wherever they passed, the mountains and rivers split open and the forests were destroyed. Endless cracks appeared on the ground. The two purple tornadoes instantly enveloped the dark red dragon. Ding ding dang dang. The sound of an intense collision rang out, and a hint of anger appeared in the dark red dragon's eyes. Courting death. See if this emperor doesn't tear you apart. As he spoke, he waved his dragon claws and tore the entire void apart. The purple storm that filled the sky was instantly torn apart. But, with a roar, he charged over. This time the dark red dragon was truly enraged. The battle between the two caused mountains to crumble and the earth to crack. That scene was in no way inferior to that of Lin Xian and the others. In fact, it was even more violent. Boom. In the ruins far away, the sky was filled with rubble as Lin Xian stood up. His clothes were torn apart, revealing the armor underneath. The blood at the corner of his mouth was exceptionally glaring. Clearly, the previous attack had injured him. But fortunately, it wasn't that serious. Moreover, with the art of longevity, which was a super recovery technique, Lin Xian's life was not in danger. However, the scene in front of him made him feel a sense of danger. The three powerhouses working together were very powerful. He had to break the balance. Lin Xian looked into the distance. The dark red dragon and the purple vine snake were fighting fiercely. It seemed that the dark red dragon would not be able to make a move for the time being. The little white monkey was very fast and had the teleportation skill, but it could only sneak up on him. There were three opponents, so it wasn't very effective. Therefore, Lin Xian did not intend to use it. Lin Xian decided to unlock the first seal on the ancient dragon abyss sword. Bus. 9 mysterious runes. When the first rune was unlocked, the ancient dragon abyss sword became unusually sharp. Lin Xian's aura suddenly skyrocketed. He was like a sword god as he charged over in large strides. There was something wrong with that long sword. Seeing this, the living fossil quickly reminded him. He had been injured by the other party's sword earlier, so he was extremely cautious when he saw this scene. This was because he wouldn't use the same move to injure him twice. Bus. Lin Xian raised his hand and slashed out 3 sword auras. The terrifying sword lights slashed at the 3 people in front of him. He had indeed become stronger. General Xianying looked at the incoming sword auras and did not dodge. Instead, he waved his Fangtian halberd and quickly resisted them. With a boom, heaven and earth shook, and the sword auras in the sky were instantly cut in half. General Xianying is so powerful. The martial artists in the distance exclaimed when they saw this scene. The living fossil of the Ting family also roared. He slapped out his purple palm like the hand of a demon king and shattered the terrifying sword auras. On the other hand, Hong Xinyang's body swayed. She did not resist. However, she slashed out a sword light with a backhand and slashed forward. Whoosh! Lin Xian swayed and instantly dodged Hong Xinyang's sword light. He charged forward. His target was still the living fossil of the Ting family. This was because he could see that although the living fossil of the Ting family was powerful, he had the most shortcomings. Firstly, the old man had been injured previously. Although he had recovered, he was still far from his peak. Secondly, the old man was too old. The qi and blood in his body had dried up. Although he had forcefully used a secret technique to increase his strength to his peak state, he estimated that he would not be able to hold on for long. Therefore, Lin Xian decided to get rid of the living fossil first. Buzz! His body flashed in the air like lightning and instantly arrived near the living fossil. The ancient dragon abyss sword in his hand danced wildly. A terrifying sword aura slashed forward. This sword aura was even more powerful than before. It was obvious that Lin Xian was only confusing the other party and did not use his true strength. Now, the power of the ancient dragon abyss sword erupted. What? The living fossil of the Ting family had a gloomy look on his face, then he was furious. His opponent is looking for me again. What does he mean? Does he think that I'm the weakest among the 3? He could not tolerate that. In the next moment he roared and slapped out 18 purple palms in a row. They were like 18 mountains that surrounded the field in the air. They collided with the sword aura that filled the sky. An intense collision was heard, and lightning flashed and thunder rumbled in front. Attack! I must not let that brat succeed. General Xianying shouted coldly and charged forward with his Fangtian halberd. On the side, Hong Xinyang's body swayed and disappeared like a ghost. They did not intend to give Lin Xian a chance to fight alone. In an instant, the 2 of them arrived in front of Lin Xian again. This time Lin Xian did not pay attention to the 2 of them. 2 sword auras rushed out of his body and turned into 2 figures that looked exactly like him. Then they cooperated with the dragon sword domain and fought against General Xianying and Hong Xinyang. This was the clone technique of the All Beginnings Holy Land. Lin Xian used the great dragon sword soul to simulate it, hoping that it would be able to resist for a while. He knew that although this divine ability was powerful, it could not completely resist the other party. Chapter 2352. After doing that, Lin Xian's eyes emitted a sharp light, and all kinds of divine abilities rushed towards the living fossil elder. Chaotic Heaven Destroyer Sword. 4 killer moves: Sea God's Ice, Hellfire, and Terrifying Thunder. In an instant, the place where the living fossil elder was completely annihilated. Boom, boom, boom. The living fossil elder also fought back with all his might. However, the other party's methods were too fierce. For a moment he was beaten back and vomited blood. The living fossil elder roared crazily. He was really going crazy. His heart was filled with killing intent for the other party to treat him like this. In the next moment he waved his snake-headed walking stick. He also used the Ting family's great divine ability to fight back. On his body, the illusory image of 9 soaring snakes appeared, cooperating with him to kill the other party. However, Lin Xian sneered. His figure changed and he instantly retreated far away. The 2 clones he sent out had been killed by General Xianying and Hong Xinyang, so he would not continue to fight with them. Sure enough, after the 2 clones were killed, General Xianying and Hong Xinyang stared at Lin Xian like lightning. The 3 of them joined forces again. Looking at the 3 of them, Lin Xian sneered. Above him, the dragon sword domain directly enveloped General Xianying. Below him, the demon-slaying sword formation restrained Hong Xinyang. This time, the living fossil elder was once again alone. Buzz! Lin Xian raised his hand and slashed a few times. The terrifying sword chi was like a long river, slashing over, courting death. The living fossil elder was already prepared. He waved his snake-headed walking stick and destroyed everything. However, in the next moment he screamed in pain. That was because he felt that his soul was burning. The pain was 10 times, no, 100 times more painful than the previous injuries he suffered. Damn it, it was another soul attack. The living fossil elder was about to go crazy. He had seen the other party's illusion before, so there was a purple mark on his forehead for defense. However, he did not expect the other party to have an even stranger attack. It could actually burn his soul. This made his face full of horror. In an instant he was injured. In fact, he did not even want to fight anymore. Because his soul was damaged, it was very troublesome to recover. He had swallowed a large number of pills, but it was only enough to stop his injuries from worsening. However, it was impossible for him to recover in a short period of time. More importantly, he did not have much vitality left. Even if he maintained such a youthful and vigorous state, he wouldn't be able to hold on for long. Initially, he thought that the three of them would be able to take down the other party quickly. But now, it seemed that it was impossible. In the next moment he retreated rapidly. Lin Xian did not give chase because General Xian Ying and Hong Xinyang had charged out again. Although the whole process seemed to take a long time, it was actually only a matter of a few seconds. The Dragon Sword Domain and the Demon Slaying Sword Formation could only block General Xian Ying and the others for about 5 seconds. Any longer and it would be impossible. Unless Lin Xian did it himself. However, 5 seconds was enough for a prodigy like Lin Xian to do a lot of things. Just like now, in just 3 seconds he had injured the living fossil elder. In the distance, the Ting family's martial artists roared madly. That was because they realized that the living fossil elder was truly in a miserable state. His clothes were tattered, his expression was dispirited, and his face was abnormally pale. It would wither at any moment. It seemed that the impact was definitely very serious. Indeed, the living fossil elder's entire body was in pain, especially the burning of his soul, which made him still have lingering fear. When General Xian Ying and Hong Xinyang saw this, their hearts also beat wildly. Among them, General Xian Ying formed a seal with his palm, and a crescent moon appeared between his brows, protecting his soul. On the other side, Hong Xinyang took out a small black cauldron and floated above her head, casting down thousands of light screens. After doing all this, the two of them stared ahead again. Kill. The three of them roared. This time they also used their trump cards, not giving Lin Xian any chance to turn the tables. The Great Destruction. General Xian Ying was like a demon god as he slashed down with the halberd in his hand. A terrifying light was sent over. On the other side, Hong Xinyang also performed a spiritual water sword technique, which was extremely fierce. The living fossil elder gritted his teeth. This time he took out a very strange treasure. It was a red box about the size of a palm, covered with blood-red patterns, emitting a monstrous murderous aura. Everyone's face turned pale. What was that? Many people were frightened, but an elder from the Tai dynasty exclaimed. Could it be the legendary demon blood box? Demon blood box, what was that thing? Some people were puzzled. But soon they knew. Because someone explained, the demon blood box is the blood left behind by a peerless demon beast, which is extremely terrifying. 1 drop was enough to kill a powerhouse. But they did not know what grade the demon blood in the other party's hand was. What? So powerful? Everyone was shocked. They did not expect the other party to take out such a terrifying killer move. Buzz. The living fossil elder's expression was cold as he slowly opened the demon blood box in his hand. The monstrous murderous aura turned into a sea of blood, rolling above the 9 heavens. In front, General Xian Ying and Hong Xinyang also felt the danger. The two of them pulled away from Lin Xian and stood on opposite sides to prevent the other party from escaping. Lin Xian frowned completely because he once again felt a strong sense of danger. The red blood in front of him had a great impact on him. But fortunately, the dragon sword soul in his body roared, and a terrifying pressure instantly disappeared. Kid, be careful, that's the demon blood of a peerless demon king. In the distance, Crimson Shenong reminded him. At this moment he was fighting with the purple vine snake. The purple vine snake was very miserable. There were many wounds on its body and one of its purple wings was torn in half. It was completely suppressed by the Crimson Shenong. However, it would not die for a while. Therefore, the Crimson Shenong could not come over to help. However, it could still inquire about the battle situation from time to time. The blood of a peerless demon king, no wonder. Judging from the aura it emitted, it had probably surpassed the 8-star demon king. Lin Xian and the others' combat power were all 8-star. But the other party had surpassed 8-star. Therefore, even General Xian Ying and Hong Xinyang were very cautious. They all quickly retreated, afraid that they would be stained with the blood. Kid, You should be proud that you made me use this treasure. Now you can die in peace." The living fossil elder in front had a ferocious expression, and there was even a hint of madness in his eyes. That was because the demonic blood box was a powerful treasure that could be used to kill powerful enemies. He did not expect that it would be used to deal with a young man in his 20s. But now he could not care so much. He had to kill the young man in front of him to vent the hatred in his heart. Go. The living fossil elder held the demon blood box with a solemn expression. Chapter 2353. There were a total of 2 drops of demonic blood in the box. One was the size of a grape, and the other was about half the size of a grape. The living fossil elder had used the smaller one. This was because he felt that this one was enough to kill the other party. After all, this was the demonic blood of an invincible demon king. Moreover, it contained a terrifying bloodline power. Coupled with the nurturing of the demonic blood box, the other party would definitely not be able to resist it. Kid, go to hell. The living fossil elder used a secret technique and waved his finger. Buzz. The crystal clear blood bead flew out. As soon as it appeared, the surrounding sea of blood surged, transforming into countless resentful spirits that roared. It was enough to make one's scalp go numb. Even the mysterious Yin River army in Hong Xinjiang kept retreating until they were tens of thousands of kilometers away. Only then did they stop. This demonic blood was too terrifying. As soon as it appeared, the void was quickly shattered. The place where Lin Xian was imprisoned. The surrounding sea of blood spread as if there were countless blood-colored resentful spirits roaring out. Vaguely, the illusory image of a blood-colored flying serpent rose from the sea of blood and spread its blood-colored wings. It covered the sky and the sun. This was only caused by the blood-colored aura. The blood-colored bead was still far away. One could imagine how terrifying it would be when it arrived. Lin Xian snorted coldly. The dragon sword domain surged, and a terrifying sword light pierced through the surroundings. Instantly, all the blood-colored aura was destroyed. It even pierced through the blood-colored flying serpent. All the illusory figures wailed and fell into a pool of blood. They kept surging. Lin Xian's body swayed as he dodged at an extreme speed. He did not want to face such a dangerous thing head-on. Nevertheless, the blood was very spiritual. No matter where Lin Xian moved, it followed closely. Moreover, the distance was getting closer and closer. In the distance, the living fossil elder of the Teng family snorted coldly. Kid, don't run. You can't escape at all. This is the blood of an invincible demon king. It's full of spirituality. Once it recognizes you, it will kill you even if you escape to the ends of the earth. General Xian Ying and Hong Xinjiang retreated far away. When they saw this scene, a cold smile appeared on their faces. They knew that the other party was dead for sure. Even though they couldn't bring him back, killing him could be considered giving the war race an explanation. Furthermore, General Xian Ying's eyes were filled with disillusionment. This was because other than the people he had brought with him, there was also a huge creature on his spirit boat. Presumably, the other party was also watching at this moment. Since the other party did not make a move, there was even less reason for him to make a move. Lin Xian didn't try to escape after learning that the demonic blood was very spiritual. What the other party said should be true, so what he needed to think about was how to resist. Defense was not his strong suit. Although his defense was comparable to an exceptional almighty, ordinary exceptional almighties were nothing against this demonic blood. In that case he could only attack. Attack was the best defense. Lin Xian gripped the ancient dragon abyss sword with both hands as the great dragon sword soul within his body roared non-stop. Streams of dragon soul aura surged into the ancient sword. At the same time, the second seal was rapidly unraveling. A terrifying power immediately erupted, shattering a part of the sky. Destroy. Lin Xian held the sword with both hands and slashed out. This sword was too terrifying. The power of the ancient dragon abyss sword with 2 seals unraveled was twice as powerful as before. Not only that, the great dragon sword soul roared non-stop, providing an unparalleled power. In the sky, a sword shadow streaked across. It was extremely dazzling. The entire space was split into 2 and terrifying cracks appeared. Everyone was stunned. They could only watch this scene with their eyes wide open. And they couldn't react. In front of them, a drop of demonic blood finally collided with the ancient dragon abyss sword. Boom. The sky was filled with explosions. The front was completely drowned by the blood-colored light and soaring sword chi. Boom boom boom. Violent vibrations sounded, and terrifying waves swept in all directions. Everyone was so frightened that they retreated frantically. The living fossil elder also tapped his foot and retreated 100,000 miles. His eyes flickered as he looked forward. Everyone was paying attention. The dark red divine dragon also slapped the purple vine snake away and retreated far away. He looked very worried because the power of the demonic blood was terrifying. Damn brat, nothing must happen to you. In front of them, the blood-colored light gradually disappeared, and the sword chi that filled the sky also weakened. Finally, the scene inside was revealed. Everyone craned their necks and looked over. In the next moment they were stunned. Because in front of them, a figure was floating in the sky. Although his clothes were tattered, the light of his armor was dim, and there were even cracks in some places. However, the other party was not dead. Damn it, that brat is still alive. How is that possible? Could it be that he destroyed that drop of demonic blood? Oh my god. No way. That's the demonic blood of an invincible monster king. It can kill a peerless mighty figure. How did he block it? That sword was too terrifying. Perhaps it directly cut through the demonic blood. Everyone discussed animatedly. The dark red divine dragon also heaved a sigh of relief. Then he shook his head. Forget it, that brat has the great dragon sword soul and the bone of a sage. He probably won't be killed so easily. Thinking of that, he stopped paying attention and turned to stare at the purple-winged snake. Two of the other party's wings were broken. It seemed that he was not far away from being killed. Buzz. The dark red divine dragon rushed forward. On the other side, everyone was stunned. Those powerhouses and mighty figures were all stunned. Even General Xianying and Hong Xinyang were stunned. That was because they did not expect that to happen. Damn it, that's impossible. Finally, the living fossil elder screamed. How is that possible? That's a powerful trump card. It was so terrifying that he could not bear to use it. Originally, he thought that using one drop to kill a peerless mighty figure would be as easy as cutting grass. However, how did the other party block it? That was driving him crazy. Damn it, what the hell is that sword? The living fossil elder's eyes were cold. He decided that after killing the other party, he must seize the other party's treasured sword. He could tell that the treasured sword was very likely an ancient artifact that contained a mysterious power. Otherwise, it would not be so powerful. If he could get it, so what if he lost a drop of demonic blood? He did not even hesitate to use the second drop of demonic blood. That was because he had to kill the other party. Phew. In front of him, Lin Xian was panting heavily. His face was a little pale. Obviously, using the two seals had consumed a lot of his energy. Moreover, the impact of the energy blasted his body, causing him to be injured again. His internal organs were damaged. Fortunately, it would not take his life for the time being. In addition, he was very rich. At that moment, he grabbed a large number of treasures and devoured them without any regard for his life. He had also completely refined the divine crystals. The longevity incantation circulated wildly and quickly healed his injuries. Old man, show me what you've got. I'll take it. Lin Xian raised his sword and pointed it forward again. Chapter 2354. Lin Xian's words shook the hearts of the surrounding people. However, Elder Sparkstone's face was indeed terrifyingly dark. The other party actually dared to openly provoke him, which made his lungs about to explode. Kid, what are you being arrogant for? The one just now was just a smaller one. I don't believe that you can contend against my second drop of demon blood. Elder Living Fossil was really angry. He decided to kill the other party at all costs. Sure enough, in the next moment he waved his palm, and the second grape-sized drop of demon blood flew out. The power this time was more than twice as strong as the previous one. It was definitely enough to kill the other party. Let's see how you dodge this time. He did not believe that the other party could contend against it. Sure enough, once this drop of demon blood appeared, the world changed drastically. In fact, the sky even started to rain blood. Everyone retreated frantically again. Lin Xian's face also became incomparably solemn. Although his words were arrogant, he did not dare to be careless at all. It seemed that he could only use this move. He took a deep breath and a sharp light burst out from his eyes. Buzz. The three seals on the ancient dragon abyss sword were released. Boom boom boom. The terrifying sword light pierced through the 9 heavens and 10 earths. These sword chi crisscrossed the sky, like a light pillar that reached the sky, constantly destroying the surroundings. Damn it. How did his sword chi become stronger again? So terrifying. Everyone went crazy. General Xianying, Hong Xinyang, and the others' faces also changed drastically. The living fossil was even more terrified, because the other party's sword chi had actually doubled in power. How was this possible? After releasing the 3 seals, Lin Xian's body shone brightly. He held the ancient dragon abyss sword with both hands and slashed forward. The power of the great dragon sword spirit also erupted together. Boom. The sword slashed down, and a radius of 100,000 miles was directly cut open. The drop of demon blood was also cut in half. Then it was shattered by the endless sword chi. Although he was powerful, the effect was not even the first drop. After the 3rd seal was released, Master Dragon's ancient dragon sword was too terrifying. What? It was destroyed with one slash. This was impossible. Everyone went crazy. Such a powerful demon blood, killing a peerless powerhouse was not a problem. The other party actually destroyed it so easily. Just what level had the power of this sword reached? They did not dare to imagine. Crack. On the other side, Lin Xian was also in great danger. After the sword slashed down, the muscles on his arms suddenly split open. Blood burst out and dyed the surroundings red. He had no choice. With his current strength, forcefully unlocking the 3rd seal on the ancient dragon abyss sword was too much for him. As a matter of fact, his muscles couldn't withstand the pressure at all and directly split open. Lin Xian's eyes shone with a sharp light. The secret art of longevity and the great dragon sword soul surged within his body. Then he swung his ancient sword again and slashed forward. The second slash was equally earth-shattering. That power caused everyone's expression to change. The most frightened ones were the living fossils of the Teng family, because this sword strike was aimed at him. Oh. The Teng family's living fossil roared madly. It was worth noting that he would not be able to block the demonic blood even if he was in his peak state. However, the sword chi from before was able to easily destroy the demonic blood. This was definitely enough to threaten his life. So in the next moment he turned around and fled. Buzz. The demonic blood box in his hand kept enlarging. It was like a red mountain blocking in front of him. Not only did the demonic blood box contain terrifying demonic blood, but it was also a rare treasure of heaven and earth. It was very tough. At this moment, Elder Jianghu wanted to use the demonic blood box to block the sword chi. However, he was not very confident. Therefore he fled frantically. The spiritual power in his body burned rapidly. The living fossil elder ran into the distance like a stream of light. Boom. Even so, he still underestimated this sword. After unlocking the 3rd seal, the ancient dragon origin sword's power was definitely beyond imagination. Not only was it powerful, but its speed was also shocking. When the sword slashed down, Elder Jianghu was directly shattered into 2 halves. Not only that, but the terrifying sword light also enveloped the living fossil elder. Boom. In the distance, endless sword chi erupted and shot into the sky. No one dared to get close. As for Lin Xian, there were even more cracks on his body. His arms were almost broken and the other parts of his body were also broken. Blood flowed and dyed his body red. However, he did not stop. The 3rd sword slashed out. Seeing that the other party was about to attack, everyone went crazy. At this moment, countless people fled in all directions. Even the strong Shenying Jiang family and Hong Xingyang fled. They did not dare to resist such a terrifying sword chi. Oh, damn it. You can't attack me. Hong Xingyang screamed because she realized that the sword chi was actually directed at her. What? Why was it directed at her? She wasn't the strongest one. This sword should have killed General Shenying. She could not understand. Boom. In the next moment, he was enveloped by the terrifying sword light. Heaven and earth rumbled. Countless sword chi circled in the distance as if it was about to destroy the world. The terrifying sword light slashed open the void, splitting it into large pieces. Everyone fled one after another. Those who were slow to flee were struck by the shock waves and were directly cut in half at the waist. In an instant, the sky was dyed red with blood. Countless corpses fell. A large number of warriors were killed. General Shenying was also attacked by the aftershock. He immediately vomited blood and flew backward. But fortunately, he managed to keep his life. However, he still kept retreating, flying far away to avoid being affected again. Because he really did not know if the other party could make a 4th sword slash. Clang. In the distance, Lin Xian stood in the void, gasping for breath. His face was abnormally pale, and his body was completely covered in blood. The ancient dragon abyss sword also fell in the air, making a clanging sound. Lin Xian's body was bleeding profusely. In some places one could even see the bones. The bones in his hands were all broken. The 3rd seal had already caused a great burden on him. After 3 sword slashes, his entire body was about to fall apart. Especially his arms that suffered the most damage. They did not have any strength left. Whooshed with a thought, countless treasures appeared in front of him from the Black Earth ship and then wrapped his entire body. Rapid recovery. The art of longevity was also crazily absorbing these medicinal effects. Now Lin Xian was at his weakest. Basically, he did not have much combat power left. However, countless people were still fleeing in the distance. Because the 3-sword chi exploded, forming a strong storm that directly covered hundreds of thousands of miles. Ordinary warriors were running for their lives. Those who were weak were killed one after another. Now who still had the mood to care about Lin Xian? Even someone as strong as General Xianying did not dare to get close. However, while General Xianying did not dare to get close, someone dared to. On a spiritual ship, 4 figures suddenly appeared. Their bodies were pitch black like ghosts. They directly tore through the void and charged over. Whoosh. Chapter 2355. The 4 Taoists were very fierce. Their long swords were about to envelop Lin Xian. With Lin Xian's current state, it would be difficult for him to block them. Indeed, Lin Xian's entire body was in pain as if it was broken. However, he still had his soul power. In the next moment, a golden light appeared in his eyes and surrounded him. Buzz. Floating light. The 4 Taoists in black were instantly affected by the illusion and stopped in midair. Then Lin Xian used soul ignition and the souls of the 4 Taoists instantly burned. They screamed miserably, their bodies trembling as they fell from the sky. Seeing this, the people who wanted to kill Ting Qingshan all stopped. Heavens! It was too terrifying. Even if Ting Qingshan was seriously injured, he could still kill 4 experts in an instant. This method was heaven-defying. They did not dare to attack anymore and chose to attack from afar. Terrifying sword chi, fire, and lightning flew from afar trying to kill Lin Xian. However, at this moment, a dragon tail blocked in front of Lin Xian. It directly shattered all the attacks. The dark red dragon appeared beside Lin Xian and roared in all directions. "Kid, are you okay?" It asked with concern. "I'm fine. I won't die yet." Lin Xian shook his head and continued to swallow treasures. "What's going on? Why is this dragon here? What about the soaring serpent?" Many people looked into the distance. In the next moment they were extremely shocked. The peerless Taoist king summoned by the Tang family, the purple soaring serpent, was split in half. Its 1,000-meter-long body was split in the air and smashed to the ground, shattering mountains and rivers. It stirred up a lot of dust. Purple blood flowed out and gathered into a river. This purple blood was the blood of a Taoist king. It was extremely terrifying and had strong corrosive and poisonous properties. Therefore, wherever it passed, countless creatures and mountains were all corroded and melted. The purple soaring serpent was killed. Heavens! They did not dare to believe it. At this moment, the surrounding energy and the terrifying sword chi also slowly disappeared. More and more people saw this scene and cried out in surprise. Especially the surviving warriors of the Tang family, their scalps went numb. "Oh, damn it. This was impossible. It can't be like this." They screamed like they had gone mad. This was because the Tang family's losses were too severe. A living fossil elder had been killed, and their peerless beast, the purple vine snake, had also been killed. This was a huge blow to them. The others were also extremely frightened. Over at the city lord's mansion, there were also continuous screams. Because they discovered that Hong Xinyang was also killed by a single sword strike. To be able to kill 2 peerless almighties in 3 strikes, the other party's strength was absolutely heaven-defying. General Xianying wiped away the blood at the corner of his mouth and looked forward with a cold glint in his eyes. The 3 shocking sword chis from before did not attack him, so he was only slightly affected and suffered light injuries. At this moment he looked ahead and revealed a sinister smile. This was because he could tell that Lin Xian was severely injured and most likely did not have much combat strength left. How could such a person withstand his attacks? Therefore, in the next moment he gathered the experts of the Tai dynasty and charged over. The 8 elders followed General Xianying and flew forward together. Their bodies shone brightly like 8 suns covering the sky. Thunderous sounds could be heard in the surroundings, and the world was trembling. General Xianying held the halberd in his hand and was extremely powerful. He was like a peerless god of war. "Damn it! Do you really think I'm a pushover?" Seeing this, the dark red divine dragon was furious. The other party had killed them time and time again, and now he dared to attack again. He really could not tolerate it. In the next moment he roared angrily. He waved his dragon claws, causing the sky to tremble and the ground to crack. 9 dragon roars flew up from the ground. They were formed from the earth's spiritual veins, and they were extremely terrifying. Each dragon's shadow was 1,000 meters long and pierced through the clouds. They flew from the ground to the sky and charged towards General Xianing and the 8 powerhouses. The 8 elders roared angrily as they were entangled by the dragon chi, causing intense collisions. General Xianing shouted and swatted away the dragon chi with his Fangtian halberd. Then he strode forward to kill. The dark red divine dragon snorted and was about to attack. At this moment Lin Xian said, "Ruffian dragon, go and deal with the other 8 people. Don't let any of them escape alive. Leave Xianing to me. Kid, don't force yourself. You're seriously injured now." The dark red divine dragon was worried. Lin Xian shook his head. "Don't worry, I've already recovered 70% to 80%. So fast." The dark red divine dragon was shocked. Even if he had treasures and divine crystals, he would not be able to recover so quickly. It seemed that the other party's longevity art was indeed heaven-defying and had far exceeded his expectations. Indeed, not to mention the dark red divine dragon, even Lin Xian did not expect the longevity art to be so terrifying. His recovery ability was heaven-defying. In a short period of time, he had indeed recovered 70% of his strength. Although there was still some pain in his body, he should be able to endure it as long as he did not unlock the 3rd seal. This time Lin Xian did not unlock the seal. Instead, he summoned the Great Dragon Sword Soul. Now it was time to use this trump card. Whoosh! The Great Dragon Sword Soul came out of Lin Xian's body and attached itself to the Dragon Source Ancient Sword, emitting a dazzling light. Terrifying sword chi shot up to the sky. Damn it, could it be that the other party still has combat strength? Seeing this scene, the martial artists in the distance exclaimed. General Xianing also frowned. He knew that he could not delay any longer. The other party was too strange. Even a peerless mighty figure would not be able to recover from his previous injuries in a short period of time. However, the other party could still attack now, which was indeed beyond his expectations. In the next moment, General Xianing waved the halberd in his hand and slashed forward. It was like a Milky Way that fell from the sky. It was extremely terrifying. Clang. Lin Xian moved the Dragon Source Ancient Sword. The two collided and the sound of metal clashing could be heard. At this moment, although the ancient sword was not unsealed, it contained the power of the Great Dragon Sword Soul, which made its power extremely terrifying. Therefore this attack was evenly matched. The other party blocked it. General Xianing frowned. The other party was clearly so severely injured. How could he still block his attack? His face darkened and he snorted coldly. Kid, I admit that you're very strong. But now you're probably an arrow at the end of its flight. I wonder how many more moves you can block from me? 1 move or 2 moves? Maybe the next move will kill you mercilessly. So kneel down obediently and beg for mercy. As he spoke, General Xianing moved the halberd. A terrifying light covered the entire sky. Boom. The sky fell and the earth cracked. General Xianying's power was too terrifying. He was not injured much previously. Now that he attacked with his full strength, it was extremely terrifying. He was like a god of war. Lin Xian let out a long roar and waved the Dragon Source Ancient Sword. He pushed the Great Dragon Sword Soul and slashed forward. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.